There we are. It's the JillStream coming to you live and in living color, unless you're listening to us on various streaming platforms. Let me get all the little plugs and shields in. All right, you can catch the JillStream every Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Hard Press channel. And of course, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, which this audio will be uploaded after we get off the air. And say hello once again to our dear friends over at Planet EJOBN on Facebook. If you are watching us on one of the various platforms that I stream this to, you can catch us if you want to hang out directly in the YouTube chat. It is youtube.com/Akari Press. Jill, I feel like I just saw you 2 days ago. What's going on?
I know, huh?
Yeah,
Not
it's
much.
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, little family drama. Not gonna get into it.
Oh, okay.
Had a night, but
Yeah.
I'm ready. It's been kind of hot here, and on top of all the still like quarantine and mask stuff around here, there's a fire raging as well. So not only that, the air is just like right now, on top of everything else around here. So that's going on. Other than that, yeah,
Right.
I finished the Umbrella Academy season 2.
How was it? I've been wanting to get into that.
I really liked the first season. I was telling Yul this last night. Here's the problem with things that involve time traveling. A lot of times, there's never really. I mean, that's kind of a small spoiler. There's time travel involved and shit. There's never really a finish. Like, you go back in time, you mess things up, things are different, and the cycle kind of continues. And without spoiling anything, I'll just say sometimes that's frustrating.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh man, there's a lot of thumbs up aspects, but there are some thumbs down aspects that I don't know. That should be another show.
Yeah, right. Have you?
Still have not checked out The Witcher. Maybe that should be my next thing.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
But I also have to listen to Sandman, so TJ Swan won't get crazy.
Oh, did you? Because
I haven't checked it out yet.
I've listened to that Sandman audiobook so many times. It's incredible. It is incredible. I definitely am a big fan of it. Neil Gaiman is a hero of mine, so I love Neil Gaiman. But okay, so we kind of teased this today's show on Wire Wednesdays, which is obviously that's when we talk about The Wire on Wednesdays. So we lost Ben Cross, and Ben Cross had been in Chariots of Fire. And I noticed on Twitter, and I was talking, and people were like, "Man, the Chariots of Fire theme song was maybe like one of the greatest theme songs ever in a movie." Blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. And we had done the very first episode of the JillStream, which is on the playlist. It's called "Where Everybody Knows Your Name," and it's called that because about halfway through the show, me and Jill got on this huge tangent about different television theme songs. We talking about like the Jeffersons, Good Times movie, all that, Facts
different
of Life.
Strokes always
different strokes. Obviously, Cheers, Where Everybody Knows Your Name.
Right.
So we talked about all these different theme songs, and it was just for television. So because Ben Cross was in Chariots of Fire, and that is definitely one of the most famous pieces of music ever put on the silver screen.
Now, can we hum the stuff?
Yes,
like
what's hum it. But playing
it is a no-go.
Yeah. The playing it, and so you can definitely get in trouble for playing the music. But
so forgive our humming at the top.
humming, or my poor singing, or any of that. But today's theme song in honor of Ben Cross, who's 72 years old and lived a good life. Today's theme song. Today's theme is we're going to talk about what we think are some of the best, musical songs, like theme songs, scores. Piece of music, scores, all that kind of stuff that have been in the cinema over the last, say, 100 and some odd years that we've had Hollywood.
And there's been a lot. There's been so much. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot that we don't talk about or that we miss.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, and obviously.
So if anybody's watching, throw in your favorites.
Yeah, please, the chat. But I thought, one of the first ones that I can remember, even like when I was a little child, was Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Scarlet. Yeah. That is definitely, so I thought about that one. And obviously Wizard of Oz, which we used to watch.
That's my first Wizard of Oz. I'm glad you mentioned Wizard of Oz. That's my very first movie memory that I have. That, and then my next one is Raiders of the Lost Ark. But Wizard of Oz, and we had it on, I think they taped it off of, because we always had the earliest versions of HBO, but they had taped it on a VHS for me, and I was definitely 3 years old or something. We always watched that tape, and that soundtrack is just in my mind.
Mayor, isn't that?
Yes, it's MGM.
Yeah, MGM. Because the reason I'm asking that is because for the longest, when I was a child, the rights to the Wizard of Oz belonged to CBS, and they would show that around a certain time every year. Wizard of Oz. It
was probably a CBS one that we taped.
Turner, when Turner Broadcasting merged with MGM, they bought them out, and then all of a sudden, all those old movies ended up on TCM, Turner Classic Movies, and they started showing Wizard of Oz on TBS and TNT.
So they started. That's would be the 90s.
They bought it out, but it used to always be on CBS, just like It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life used to always be on NBC.
Now, because I don't remember the version I had having commercials, but it was definitely one we had taped onto a VHS tape. So I wonder if they showed it commercial free or if it was some weird cable version my parents grabbed. I don't know. But I remember it not having commercials. But I had one of my favorite VHS tapes that I coveted was the Jason and the Argonauts that I had recorded off of television. And it had commercials, old classic commercials. And one day my sister, when I was in high school, had taped over that tape, and I was pissed.
Right, Jason and the Argonauts, that had the claymation from Ray Harryhausen.
One of his.
I know George Lucas was a big fan of his, and he tried to get him to do the 3D chess scene in Star Wars, where they had that. Yeah, he was trying to get, and for whatever reason, he actually talks about this on. I have some Star Wars making of discs, and George Lucas, he was trying, like he said, he was wanting to get Ray Harryhausen because he was such a big fan. He's like, "Will you do the chess?"
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
So they ended up doing obviously a claymation version of it anyway, which they cleaned up in the special editions and made it more CGI.
Yeah, they did.
They specifically wanted Ray Harryhausen to do that claymation.
That would have been awesome.
Oh, it would have been, and I understand it. That's one thing a lot of people forget, especially young George Lucas. He was a fan. So he was a fan of cinema first. When you hear him talk about the stuff that he watched and enjoyed when he was a kid, when he's talking about those Buck Rogers and old Flash Gordon in the series, a lot of the Star Wars stuff that he's done was a nod to that stuff, which people that aren't from a certain generation don't get. And they just look at Star Wars and they don't get it.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, this dude.
That's why history can be so cool, though. If you learn about things, you see things from a different perspective sometimes, and it makes things better.
Yeah. So,
but speaking of Star Wars and John Williams.
Well, yeah.
Rewind.
Because I'm thinking of, we got Wizard of Oz, which Wizard of Oz has so much good stuff on it. And then.
Yeah, not just songs, but even the background music. When it starts, it's oh man, whoa! There's this choir, and then it's good stuff. I love Wizard of Oz. I love the Munchkins. The Munchkins are awesome. Did you ever watch Old School Daily Show with Craig Kilborn?
That was the moment of it, yes.
Yeah, with Beth Littleford did an interview with the remaining Munchkins, and it's to this day one of my favorite bits of the Daily Show ever.
That was the Daily Show I liked with my man Craigers.
Me too. I don't prefer
Kilborn when he was at ESPN with what's the guy? Damn, I can't remember his name. He's on Sunday Night Football now.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's why it was him. They worked on ESPN Sports Center together, and then he obviously left and went to Comedy Central. Daily Show. That's when I enjoyed it. Comedy Central.
Too. That's funny.
Like
Jon Stewart for me laughs too much at his own jokes. Like it really grates on me. I'm like, that's not funny.
I'm not a big fan of Trevor Noah's either. So but Craig Kilborn's Daily Show, that was my Daily Show.
I really enjoyed that version of the Daily Show. But I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or clips. But anybody. You have to watch Bette Littleford interview the Munchkins. It's so funny.
Yeah, because I thought, the cast of interviewers and stuff that he had, I was like, Beth Littleford. I loved her.
Yeah.
I remember that girl that what was the woman that Strangers with Candy? I know she was on the Daily Show. He just had. It just seemed like he and Ellen DeGeneres' older brother. He was on there, or is he her younger brother? Either way, he was a brother. Ellen DeGeneres' brother was what was his name? Something DeGeneres. But I mean, his
classic Daily Show. Good stuff. There's good stuff in there.
There. So I always loved the Moment of Zen, and it was weird. Like Jon Stewart tried to do the Moment of Zen, and I was like, "That's Craig's stuff, man." And they phased it out because he just knew that wasn't his thing.
Wasn't there some other bit that they phased out, like a list or something that they used?
Yeah.
And I think when Jon Stewart first started, it was like it was like a 10 list, and then it was a 9, and then an 8,
and then because Craig, when he moved over to CBS after Letterman, he kept trying to do the same format. They do the top 5 or whatever, and he'd do it was basically a longer form of the Daily Show.
Yeah,
and he just got. I actually liked his talk show.
Can you remember how obsessed with Dido he was? And he got her on the show, and he had this Dido countdown, for when she was going to come on the show. It was just such random.
Oh shit. Yeah, and he used to hit the button. And
he was so excited. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, it was just like Where is Dido, by the way?
I don't know.
She just disappeared after that Eminem song, man. Stan.
That was a while ago.
That's been a minute. I was like, I remember. So that was a minute ago. So okay.
Okay, Wizard of Oz. Okay, what's next? Gone with the Wind. You said was one. One you remember.
I definitely love that, but I always loved. Like old. Because I've talked about my love of musicals and stuff, so I would always.
Me too.
So
to me, they're kind of in a different category, though. I love Rodgers and Hammerstein. Anything Rodgers and Hammerstein, I love. Kind of
South Pacific and all that kind of stuff. And
Flower Drum Song, not as much, but there's a couple good songs in there. But overall, Showboat, that's Oscar Hammerstein, not with Richard Rodgers. To me, they're kind of in a different category, though. Do you not consider them a different category?
I consider them because those are Broadway, and then they just got turned into a motion picture. So it's not.
Oh, there's a lot of movie musicals that were just straight up. One of my favorite musicals of all time is Singing in the Rain, and that's a straight up movie musical. It was not a stage show. It was produced by Arthur Freed, who wrote music when talkies first started. And he wanted to feature music that he had written in some sort of a thing. So he threw some songs at a couple writers and was kind of make a movie about this. And because of the nature of the songs and when it was written, it turned into what happens when the talkies came in after the silent pictures. Singing in the Rain is a great movie. Great musical. Great songs.
See, I used to watch all that stuff. All the Martin and Lewis movies. They used to show those on.
Those were on all the time.
Yeah, I used to love.
I didn't care for them as much, but they were always on. You always saw bits of them.
Lewis movies. Yeah, Martin and Lewis movies. I didn't enjoy Jerry, and some people think I'm crazy, but I didn't enjoy Jerry Lewis as much by himself outside of Nutty Professor.
Okay,
Nutty Professor I loved, but. Most of it, what was it?
He's not my favorite. He's a required taste. He's a gimmick.
Himself, and that was a hit. And then
is his thing? Lady, was that his thing?
Yeah.
Lady.
But I always loved the Martin and Lewis movies because they'd have hell. There was even a very early appearance from Marilyn Monroe.
I was just gonna say, there's always a gaggle of beautiful women hanging around, like whatever the scenario. Like if they're in, I don't know, like. Did they ever do anything in a sorority house or something, or like a finishing school? Like, there's always women around for sure.
Yeah, I always love. Yeah, no, trust me.
Speaking of lots of women and a musical, another one of my all-time favorite movie musicals, not a stage production, not a Broadway show, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Oh, definitely remember that one. Yes,
Ultimate. Okay. I love it for so many reasons. Not only that, the dynamics between men and women in that movie is hilarious. I love it. I love that movie.
Obviously watched some things in the 60s and whatnot, but I was born in 75. So a lot of my early movie outside of them showing like old reruns and stuff is a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is from the 70s. 2001 A Space Odyssey.
That's obviously a classic.
Yeah. Which also Ric Flair used to walk out.
That's right. Wrestlers love classical music.
Yeah,
it's classic.
What is it? Hold up. There's Yule in the chat. It's like your
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Bless her beautiful hide wherever she may be. He's going to town looking for a wife to literally just, take care of him and breed children for him. Little does she know he has 6 other brothers who live there as well that she has to take care of. It's a great movie, guys. They kidnap women and then the women fall in love with them. It's crazy. And Julie Newmar is in it as well.
Ooh, Catwoman.
Mm-hmm. She plays one of the girls that gets kidnapped, and her name in the movie is Dorcas.
Dorcas.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let me see.
So yes,
I definitely remember 2001 Space Odyssey. I don't know who scored that movie. Now
I had mentioned Ennio Morricone.
Yes,
the Bad and the Ugly. So a lot of those were in the 70s, right? Or 60s and 70s,
the 60s and 70s, yeah. They did a lot of the Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns, obviously. Quick and the Dead. Yeah. He definitely I watched all the, the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Quick and the Dead, all those old what was the
every Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, he didn't have he was the unknown person or whatever. He never had a name in those films. He was just that guy. I knew he did 3 films as that person or whatever. And but those old Sergio Leone, but Sergio Leone did a bunch of those. Matter of fact, you know what? I was even seeing some old Kurosawa movies with if you're into that foreign stuff, you can watch like what was it? Not Akira. Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
I used to listen. I would go back and research because like those old Wu-Tang Clan CDs, they would be referencing that stuff.
They love kung fu shit.
Yeah, and I love So they would use samples from like those old kung fu type flicks and stuff, and it would make me like, I want to know where that came from, and I check that because we used to watch like kung fu movies and stuff all the time. So again, that's going into the early 80s or whatever. So I'm like, okay, definitely. I was even watching, what was it, Midnight Cowboy, and what was that? What was that song from there? Everybody's talking about me.
Oh my God, that's the Seinfeld episode with Kramer and and the LA episode at the end. And great reference to Midnight Cowboy. So great.
Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa. Yeah, man, that is Rashomon's a classic. I actually remember they did a Dawson's Creek Rashomon.
What? I never watched Dawson's Creek. I never watched it.
Good though. I thought it was gonna be cheesy, but no, that's Rhinestone Cowboy. Not Glenn Campbell is Rhinestone Cowboy. I'm talking about Midnight.
Midnight Cowboy is John Voight and
John Voight and Dustin Hoffman.
I'm walking here. Yeah, Dustin Hoffman.
Here, which was ad-lib, by the way. That particular scene, they were filming, and the guy
Ratso,
I'm walking here. And they thought it played well on film, but that actually wasn't in the script. And the guy started the vehicle, and he said, "I'm walking here," and he just kept the camera running. And he's like, "Hey, let's keep that in there." So that was an ad-lib scene. Man, Dustin Hoffman was pretty big in the like late 60s, early in the 70s.
Yeah, Graduate.
The Graduate. What?
Well,
Marathon
that's actually kind of a famous score / soundtrack.
Yeah,
with Simon and Garfunkel
stuff in it. It had all those.
Did they also like score it or do like instrumentals for it too? Well, I want to say that. I don't know that that's true.
I think they scored that whole movie. The soundtrack, as a matter of fact, if you pull the soundtrack, it's all a bunch of Simon and Garfunkel songs.
So they did the whole thing.
I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, Paul Simon's a genius with music and stuff, but Simon and Garfunkel on the Graduate soundtrack, everybody, I think they actually got nominated for an Oscar for Mrs. Robinson. They won a Grammy for it. But my favorite song from the Graduate soundtrack is The Sound of Silence. That's my song.
Darkness, my old friend. It's referenced in so many things as a punchline to a joke, or like when something. I can't think of an example right now, but it's in so many things. That's my song
from The Graduate. Yeah, and you have to watch the whole movie to get to that song, because they don't play it until the end when he finally gets the girl and they crashes the wedding and gets her to leave.
It's not my favorite movie, I gotta be honest, but it's fine. I don't know. I'm trying
to remember. That's Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols directed that. He also directed Nashville. He was married to the chick.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
He was married to the chick that was on Good Morning America forever. I mean, I know he died like a year or two ago. He ended up having cancer or whatever. But Mike Nichols was married to Jane London or
Diane Sawyer.
Okay, because I know it's like Mike Nichols was married. But okay. So I know I thought he directed MASH too.
You might be right about that.
Yeah, Mike Nichols directed. Yeah, but Nashville, which a lot of country artists have cited Nashville, is like that's this town wrapped up, in a bow right there. If you want to know about what it's like trying to make it in the country music business or whatever, watch Nashville. And I've watched it, and it's MASH, and it's like I was never. My mom liked MASH. She liked the.
My mom liked the show. Yeah, same here. My mom liked the show. Yeah,
but the movie MASH with Donald Sutherland.
It's different than the show.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
I could never get into the show either.
They only had a couple of cast members that were in the movie and decided to take the same role in the sitcom as well, though. And then they did After MASH, and that was terrible. So it's like After MASH was terrible. It's like Mayberry RFD. I remember I remember watching like Andy Griffith, and then they did Mayberry RFD. And
oh my God, do you remember when the new Leave It to Beaver came out? With Jerry Mathers and and the older brother, they were both in it as like their older selves, and I believe Eddie Haskell was in it too.
Yeah, they got the original. Well, the dad had passed away
sometime in the 80s.
But the mother was still alive. She was on there because actually, if I'm not mistaken, what happens a lot of times with those sitcoms from like the 50s and 60s. A lot of times they would cast a woman or as the mom, and she would actually be, 10, 15 years younger than what she was playing on, so the woman that played the mother on Leave It to Beaver,
June Allison, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
When she had Lost in Space too, I think she was in Lost in Space as well. She was the mom on Lost in Space, but she was on Leave It to Beaver, and she was obviously still alive, and she's also
Barbara Billingsley.
Barbara Billingsley. Okay, yeah. Okay, Barbara Billingsley, but she was also the chick that spoke jive in Airplane.
Oh yeah,
I remember her from Airplane.
Well, and that's why it was funny because it's the mom from Leave It to Beaver. Like that was the reference at the time. Like that's not only is it an old lady, but it was the mom from Leave It to Beaver. Jive. It was June Cleaver.
yeah, she spoke jive. Jive. And matter of fact, I remember that scene in Airplane with the two little white kids, and the little white girl sitting there at her seat, and the boy walks up, and he's got some coffee or whatever, and he's got like a little serving tray. He sits down next to her. It's like coffee, and she said, he's like, would you like a cream? Would you like cream? And she goes, no, I like it black, like my man. And she was like 8.
Oh my God.
That's the funniest.
Maybe I should put that on tonight. I haven't watched that in a very long time. They would never be
able to do that joke now because
you'll airplay tonight. You'll airplay.
I take it black like my man. She's just sitting there drinking a coffee, but I'm trying to remember because the new Leave It to Beaver aired on TBS, and they were matter of fact.
I knew it was. I was trying to remember because I knew it wasn't one of the main.
The guy that played Eddie, he was on one of the early Starcades. I think it was. I can't remember which Starcade it was, but he was one of the judges in the match between Sting and Ric Flair. The guy that played Eddie Haskell. They had him on because Jim Cornette had to interview him. He's talked about it on the podcast a few times, but I watched it. I was
there
like,
was
it's still
something about. There was something else about Eddie Haskell. Who? Anyway.
Let me see. Okay. So let's. Okay. What was Francis Ford Coppola's father won an Oscar for doing the score of The Godfather. That was his father.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He put his daughter in the scene where Michael Corleone.
His daughter's terrible. Yeah, his daughter's terrible.
You're talking about her being terrible as an actress in Godfather 3.
Yeah.
But
yes, I am.
Yeah, okay. And
yes,
they had cast Winona Ryder as that part. Yes,
Winona Ryder.
She had accepted that part.
Winona Ryder?
Winona Ryder was supposed to play Michael Corleone's daughter. Yeah, she was the original choice and she had accepted that part. And she pulled out. And then instead of hiring a new actress, he said, why don't I give it to my daughter? And so that's what happened there. But yeah, originally it was Winona Ryder. I'm trying to remember that. I'm pretty sure that was before she got in trouble for that shoplifting thing or whatever.
Okay, so here's a funny, stupid story. My dad and I were going through The Godfathers. We're watching that. I don't know, it was probably like middle school or something. Watch Godfather 1, we watched Godfather 2. We get to Godfather 3. This was in the rental era. So we had rental, and it's two tapes, right?
Oh, so, yeah.
We put in a tape. It's, again, stupid, right? It, like, starts, but, like, there's no, like, any credits for it. It just starts, right? So we watched the second tape, and then, like, the credits come up, and we're like, what? And then we didn't go back and even watch the first tape because we hated the second tape so much.
You out of order. Yes. Oh, so it's like.
Oh, it was so dumb. It was so dumb. We were just like, nah, we wasted enough time on this.
Yes, yeah, a judge in pro wrestling match that is almost as dumb as happening. Yeah, because they did
the that. The RoboCop scene is so funny on that pay-per-view.
Yeah, when he was in it, had to rip the thing off the cage or whatever.
Yeah, except the door already comes off like before he rips it off. It's too funny.
Earlier in the pay-per-view, Jim Cornette had, they did like a Free the Manager match or whatever. Jim Cornette was above, and they had told him, they was like, hey, we got to mess the cage up because we got to have it so that RoboCop can rip the door off of it and all this. So he had to do that. Because they did one was called Capital Punishment, but they had done another. I thought they did 2 with RoboCop.
I think you might be right, but they did something with another. Didn't they do something with another character?
But
not Alien.
I'm not sure, but I wanted the reason I highlighted this comment from Michael. I wanted to because. Yes, it was stupid to have judges because they had like a Playboy or Penthouse Center vote or something as one. They had like 3 or 4 judges, and it's on WWE Network. You can watch it. But I think
WWE did a lot of BS.
I think it was the first Starcade, but this match is one of the most famous matches in history. Number one, they put Starcade up on free television up against WrestleMania as revenge for Vince McMahon interfering with their syndication. Vince McMahon had told a lot of the pay-per-view buyers that if they carried Starrcade, that he would not allow them to carry WrestleMania. So they backed off, and so they put. Matter of fact,
classic wrestling wars.
Clash of the Champions. It wasn't Starrcade. It was Clash of the Champions. They put Clash of the Champions up against. It was Clash of the Champions on free TV with Eddie Haskell as the judge. It was Clash of the Champions.
What a draw!
And no, wait a minute. This is still one of the most famous matches because this is Ric Flair versus Sting. And this is the beginning of them setting up so Sting could become the world champion. This was but then right after this, Sting got hurt. They were getting ready to crown Sting at the next Starrcade, and they did the Clash of the Champions. He got hurt, and then Flair had to give the belt to he dropped the belt and they gave it to Lex Luger and Sting. It was the whole thing was complicated, but yeah, he had promised Sting that when Sting got made champion, because Ric Flair's talked about this, that who is not just winning the belt, is who you win the belt from. Where like his first time ever winning the NWA World Championship was Harley Race, and then he won it again, and it was Dusty Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? It was
the main dudes, the main men in their territory.
Yeah. So these are some of the biggest guys that ever lace them up and get in the four or in the square circle. So he didn't just want. It's like, okay, well, when Sting gets healthy, I'll drop the belt. No. I'm going to drop the belt to Sting because that was what we agreed. I'm Ric Flair, and no offense to Lex Luger, I'm Ric Flair.
Offense to Lex Luger. Lex Luger was terrible.
Oh, I was a big fan of Lex Luger's when I was a kid.
Well, he was still a shitty wrestler.
Yeah.
But do you remember when he debuted? I think it's his WWE debut. Again, it's on the network, and Bobby Heenan is with him, and he comes out, and it's like the mirrors all around, and Bobby Heenan's like drooling over his muscly body, his like gross muscly body.
I refuse to talk about Lex Luger in the WWF. If you're gonna talk about Lex Luger's career, you can only talk about him in WCW.
Can we talk about post WCW and finding Miss Elizabeth then? Or
oh God, no, that was obviously a train wreck as well. But I'm saying, that's
wait. Let's get back on the rails. Movie music, anybody?
His stuff in WWF was horrible. The Lex Express or whatever that was, we had the bus and the whole deal. But okay, so so we had the Godfather 1 and 2. He was like Oscar winner for Francis Ford Coppola's father for scoring that film, which I think the movie won like 7 Oscars. Yeah. Well, I mean, he keeps it in the family, but Sophia Coppola's her on-screen debut was as the baby at the christening. At the end of Godfather 1, when they're Michael Corleone, do you? He's giving it, and he's like, I do. And then you go in, and there's the Mo Green, pam. It's like they hitting, the battalion, they're taking out all the 5 families.
It's all going down while they're doing their family business.
He's sitting there playing all innocent and everything, and christening his niece.
He's becoming the Godfather.
I mean, you gotta think about that. I mean, think about how many people were related to Francis Ford Coppola that were his sister, Talia Shire.
Nicolas Cage is in that family, correct?
Nicolas Coppola, yes. Nicolas Coppola is his nephew, and then he named Nick Cage because he was a fan of Luke Cage, the comic book character. So he did not want to. He did not want to be Nicolas Coppola in Hollywood, and that was one of the things. So he decided he took Luke Cage's last name and made it very famous. So Nicolas Cage is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, but Talia Shire, his sister, who was also in Rocky, which is another film we have to talk about. But the Godfather films, obviously, so you get the 70s, so. This is when we start talking about, now, do you want to do Rocky first, or you want to go into John? Because if we go John Williams, there's so many movies that we have to talk about with John Williams.
Well, then let's do Rocky first.
Okay, so Rocky, scored by Bill Conti. Bill Conti, he scored Rocky 1, 2, 3, I'm pretty sure because they use the same music for, I'm pretty sure he scored 4 and 5 too.
It's my grandma's maiden name, Conti.
Conti, okay,
one of my family names.
Bill Conti, he scored, Rocky 1 and obviously, Oscar for Gonna Fly Now. All right, Rocky was nominated for all that. Rocky, that theme song is still very like when you're watching like Eagles games or something and they're making a comeback and all of a sudden you hear them, they'll throw it on.
Yeah.
You're seeing the Eagles like they're down, like say they're down 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden they're making a comeback and like they're going to commercial and you hear bum, 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 because Rocky is obviously from Philadelphia and the whole thing. So I understand why the Eagles would play that. I'm sure they probably played at the 76ers games too, but you hear, I've heard, Gonna Fly Now so many times watching football. So that is, but that's not even my most favorite piece from Bill Conti, because Bill Conti, obviously he did those movies, even did some television work on North and South. I remember Patrick Swayze in that. And,
miniseries, or was that a show or a miniseries? It was a miniseries, right?
They did like 3 of them though. They did.
Remember when miniseries used to be such a thing? Like that was like they were like draws for the networks or something. Like they were big for them. They loved miniseries.
Yeah, miniseries used to, but now you see miniseries on. You see them on cable television more than you see them on regular television.
Yeah, but I feel like it's different these days. Like they're short seasons, but we're always going to get another.
Netflix changed how people consume television. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, I remember when V came on television.
Oh my God, that's another one of my first early TV memories, Antonio. My mom was watching V, right? We were in our first place we lived, so I was under the age of 5. My mom was watching V on TV, the TV series, not the movie, okay? And this stupid like alien thing comes out and this long tongue comes out and it freaked me out and I had to run into the other room.
Movie first and then it became a miniseries? I think that's what
you might be right. Like a TV
movie. Like a 2-hour movie or something. And then
TV movie, then TV show, right?
Yeah, it was a miniseries. They did try to make a show after, and then they brought it back on ABC years later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my early TV memories. That's funny.
The original V, I thought it was like a 2-hour movie, and it was a hit.
You're right. Yeah.
And then they made a mini series, and then they just said, okay, television. Because I remember, what's the guy that played the Beastmaster? He was on V. I remember him, the little lizard creatures and stuff. But yeah, miniseries on television, that used to be an event. They used to do that. I used to love those. And
what's the one with like the thorn birds? Or it's like the priest who falls in love.
Yeah, it used to be big, but North and South, and because like I said, I remember Patrick Swayze on North and
Roots,
South.
Obviously, one of the most famous miniseries.
I remember Roots.
I don't know. Did you have to watch that in school? We watched that in school.
I'm in Tennessee.
No, well, that's why I asked. So is that a yes? Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
Oh, it's a no. Okay. No, we watched that in school.
A lot of the kids were talking about Roots when we went to school the next day. But I'm in the South.
That's very interesting to me.
They don't like to acknowledge that slavery or anything like that.
Huh. Like, I think we talked about this off camera maybe at some point, but yeah, so obviously we watched Roots in school, and we definitely learned about the Japanese internment camps as well, which took place in California.
Yes.
But
Born Remembrance.
Born Remembrance.
Wasn't that Robert Mitchum in that? I think. Am I wrong about that? I thought Robert Mitchum was in that.
I don't remember, but again, they would get stars to be in these things. These would be like little vehicles for these people to like maybe get an Emmy or something.
And Winds of War, yeah. But those little mini series.
So Bill Conti did North and South. What other TV did he do?
I'd have to look on his eye, but that one
fine.
struck. I think they did because they did like 2 or 3, well, 3 norths and souths, but the other 2 I don't remember. But the first one was huge, and Patrick Swayze and the chick that I can't remember who the chick that took blonde girl's place on Veronica's Closet. What was her name? That
Kirstie
she was
Alley?
the chick.
What am I thinking of?
Veronica's Closet, and she was in Star Trek 2, I think.
Are you Kirstie Alley?
Kirstie Alley, yeah, that's her.
Okay. That's what I thought you were. Yeah.
I remember, that was the first time I ever saw her and stuff. It's like, but
she was also in Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking Too.
Yeah, well,
with John Travolta.
Oh yeah, those were actually good. Well, the first Look Who's Talking is amazing,
and then, I believe it's Bruce Willis as the voice of the kid.
Yeah,
as the baby. Yeah.
The third one with like
the dogs or pets or something. Look Who's
Talking now. That one,
I don't think I watched that. I didn't watch that.
You didn't miss much. They even had Damon Wayans do a guest voice in Look Who's Talking. I remember Damon. That's why they were trying to make him a big star and stuff. But
oh man, they really tried in the 90s with the Wayans.
Coming off anyway and all that stuff. So I get it. But yeah, when they had the talking dogs, it was terrible. But yeah, he did North and South. But he also did after he did the after he did what was Rocky. After he did Rocky, he did The Right Stuff.
I'm looking at that now.
The Right Stuff. So Bill Conti scored The Right Stuff, but that's still not my favorite work that he did.
What's your favorite work?
The Karate Kid.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Masters of the Universe.
No.
How many times have you seen Karate Kid? Because I feel like I've seen it was always on cable, it was always on TV. I feel like I've seen it so many times.
Karate Kid, directed by John Avildsen. John Avildsen also directed the Rocky films. And he brought
that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Well, you notice this pattern in Hollywood.
It's the formula.
You work with someone. It's the same with Steven Spielberg and John Williams. He loves John Williams, so he's like, if I have a film, John Williams is gonna get that call. You know what I'm saying? So that was what it was. So at that point, John Avildsen, he had directed those Rocky. Obviously, Rocky won an Oscar. All at the second one, he did the third one, and then like I said, he did what the damn movie I just in the one I just mentioned with the space program.
Right Stuff.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I just had.
I'm looking here, and here's something that's close to my heart because I watched it like all the time on the weekends. He apparently wrote the theme song to the original version of American Gladiators. Bill Conti.
So that's other television.
I find that kind of awesome.
I loved American Gladiators. Those first couple seasons of American Gladiators was.
Do you remember Rico of Billy and Chuck, Antonio?
You look so
good to me.
Yeah.
But do you remember Rico, their manager?
Yeah,
he was one of the very first winners as a contender of American Gladiators.
Oh, because he went down to Ohio Valley Wrestling. He was there when Jim Cornette was there. He was one of the Ohio Valley Wrestling people that got called up. Obviously, John Cena was down there. They had Randy Orton down there. They had Brock Lesnar down there. They had Batista down there. They brought Shelton Benjamin down. They didn't really, but Shelton Benjamin was probably the best athlete they had. Oh
my God, Antonio.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Well, talking about TV with Bill Conti, I mean, these two stand out in my mind very much so because these were two huge shows for my mom, Dynasty and Falcon Crest.
Oh my God.
Like those theme songs and Cagney and Lacey, which my mom was also obsessed with.
My mom,
yes,
loved.
Yes,
she watched both of those shows. She watched Falcon Crest too.
Yeah,
Falcon Crest, but she loved Dynasty. She loved.
Women of the '80s loved those programs. Apparently, yeah,
it
was like dramatic. do 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 la 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 la
Like, so yeah, the dynasty
la. Yes.
yeah, so
Classics.
I mean, you know, I was listening to like different theme songs before we went on the air, and obviously when Jill popped in, I was listening to "I Dream of Jeannie," you know,
Which is another fun one.
You know, all that. So yeah, but I was like listening to different. I was trying to get in the mood for today's thing.
I always wanted to see whenever they saw inside Jeannie's lamp was always like the best part to me because I wanted to live in her little, you know, couch apartment inside of her lamp.
Yeah,
it was just a couch, basically.
But yeah, but like I said, Bill Conti's score of the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
It was, my God.
Hit me with something because like I'm totally blanking on the score of. I can only think of like. Yeah, around. That's all I can think of right now.
Never keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. Like I love Karate Kid, and it's like Karate Kid 1 and 2. I like to pretend Karate Kid 3 did not happen, and the next Karate Kid did not happen. And
I never saw that one.
Yeah, and then I also like to pretend like.
No, wait a second. The next Karate Kid is with Swank.
Yeah, Hilary Swank is.
Maybe I did see that. I think it.
Yeah, I've seen.
I may have seen parts of it.
I watched all of them, and but Cobra Kai is fire. I love Cobra Kai, but Bill Conti, that like pan flute stuff that he did, man, they're like. You know, it's like, yeah, they be sitting there doing the katas and doing all that stuff. I love
Karate Kid 2 when they go to that's when they go to Japan, right?
Yeah, when they go to
the part that always stands out is when they have the you know, the little the drums and like yeah, it's like the best.
I played the Karate Kid video game on Nintendo. When they had the Karate Kid video game, and like you would have to go through the levels, and then Daniel would have a training session. So they had a training session.
Oh, I never had this game. Oh, I've never played that. I've never played that.
If you have an NES, you can find that game. It's a lot of collectors are still looking for that game. It's on eBay. I see them on eBay all the time. But really,
I had a lot of weird NES games.
Art Chris says there was a game. No, the Karate Kid.
There was a game for a lot of weird shit back then.
Yeah, they just like there was Karate Kid cartoon too. But they in the Karate Kid cartoon, Daniel's his karate was way too advanced. That dude was like ninja flips and stuff in the karate.
It's like Jackie Chan style.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was him and Mr. Miyagi, and all of a sudden Daniel was way more advanced than Ralph Macchio's abilities were on film. Dude, I saw him. You can watch that. I need to pull it up on YouTube and watch Karate Kid cartoon and see. Maybe when we get off the air, I'll pull it up and show because you get flagged for that stuff.
Yeah.
But man, he's like doing flips and all this kind of stuff. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Art Chris. Everyone had a cartoon WWF. That was Hogan wrestling or Rambo, the Rambo cartoon,
and Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers. Captain Lou Albano. The RoboCop cartoon I actually enjoyed. The RoboCop cartoon was dope. It just didn't. It's probably too expensive to keep it going because it had good animation and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was digging that. But yeah, there was you would have the levels in the Karate Kid, and then they would have the different train. And one of them, do you remember that scene in Karate Kid 2 where Daniel where he's trying to teach him the drum technique or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there and he's got that ice hook, and you're supposed to move out of the way or whatever. So that's one of the training levels for Daniel. So like, and they shoot the thing, and you have to move out of the way of the ice hook, and if you mess up, you'll fall off the plank or whatever. Move. And there was another one where Daniel has to catch chopsticks. I mean, we catch flies with chopsticks. So yeah, they got the different flies, and you have to try to catch flies with your chopstick and stuff. So that was but yeah, Bill Conti's score for the Karate Kid. I've tried to find that on like Amazon Music and stuff, and I can't. Mm-hmm. You'd have to probably actually find an LP for it.
It was probably on CD at some point, no?
Yeah, there's got to be. I've got to find it. So I was like, that's the music. Because the actual soundtrack, it had all those weird 80s tracks like The Best Around and all that kind of. Yeah.
Like a couple love songs that were like, who cares?
It's like I wouldn't. The actual music didn't appeal to me, but the Bill Conti score, man, that with that pan flute and all that, it's got a nice Asian flavor to it. I love that. I was like, that's a great one. So let me see. So okay, the Karate Kid, like I said, Bill Conti did those like Right Stuff and Rocky and so many movies.
Oh, one more TV early theme of Inside Edition. Bill Conti, one of that news,
Oh, that's
news program. Like
Bill O'Reilly was on Inside Edition. That's where he came from. On A Current Affair. I thought he was on Inside
Edition. The original fake news programs, Current Affair and Inside Edition.
But I'm trying. Bill O'Reilly was either on A Current Affair or he was on Inside Edition. He was on one of those shows. It might have been
right. He was.
Because there's that clip and it's on YouTube where he's cussing out the staff before we're doing live.
His previously composed works were reused for the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Oh my God!
I'm reading here.
I'm Robin Leach, and I'm wishing you champagne wishes
and caviar dreams.
Yeah. And so, but like I said, if you're a composer, you work.
Yeah.
You work. You go where the work is.
Definitely.
And the old TV sitcoms and stuff like that, they used to actually have scores and stuff. Like 8 is Enough or whatever and all that.
Another one of my mom's favorite shows.
I used to watch those. But yeah. So Bill Conti. Okay, so we have to do, obviously, let's go back a little ways. Go to a young man by the name of Steven Spielberg. And he decides that they were trying to get him to just kind of have like a regular soundtrack where they had like a couple of music songs in there. And Steven said, no, I want to make movies the way that they used to make them, like in the 40, 50 years of movie making in Hollywood at that time. He's like, the classic movies that I used to watch, like Gone with the Wind and Spartacus and all those different movies, they actually had an orchestra and a conductor and all that kind of stuff. So he said, I want someone that can do like classical music and actually score my movie. So someone recommended to him a guy by the name of John Williams, and he linked up with John, and John came up with the theme for Jaws, which is one of the most and
it's very simple.
But when you hear like when the way they did, because that movie had a lot of happy accidents in it where they had went over budget. They didn't have they didn't have
the sharks were a mess.
Yeah, because they didn't have the money. The studio was like, we've dumped already $10 million into this thing, and Steven went over budget, and the shoot went over. I think he went like 20, 25 days over the shooting schedule as well. They did. So he was, so they're having to pay these people and all this. The shark malfunctioned and it looked like shit. So they
because I think originally you're supposed to see the shark more in the movie, and it just wasn't. It just didn't happen. It just didn't come together.
And Steven was like, "Okay, the shark looks terrible. Shark looks awful. So let's not show the shark. Fear by like pretending the shark's and so they shot around the shark because they didn't want everybody to see how terrible the shark looked."
Well, that opening scene with the swimmer is so good because she's out there, right? And it's like, huh! And you're like, huh! And she gets like pulled under. It's really cool.
Yeah, and he did classic. Matter of fact, there's a movie with what's the guy? I'm trying to remember. He was the guy that was on Gunsmoke as the sidekick, not the original sidekick on Marshall Dillon or whatever. The one with the bad, was he Chester? The guy with the bad leg. And him, he ended up he ended up working with Steven Spielberg on because Steven Spielberg had directed like Columbo episodes. He was a TV director, and there was a movie called Duel.
Okay, yeah, and, that's the with the car, right?
Yeah, and the guy's trying to run him off the road and stuff. And Steven Spielberg directed that movie, and that ended up being a hit television movie, and then he ended up getting an opportunity to do Jaws. Jaws, I really love Jaws. It scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, though.
It's a good movie.
Yeah,
really good.
What about The Exorcist? Did you ever?
I like The Exorcist.
That score from The Exorcist was incredible.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about The Exorcist, but yeah, definitely The Exorcist.
Yeah, I was like, let me see. Art Chris says shark malfunction made it much better. I think if Spielberg got what he wanted, maybe if that shark had actually not,
it would have still looked really cheesy, even if it had worked. Yeah,
and you don't have the classic movie that still makes money every time they release it on like Blu-ray and stuff.
You're right.
Yeah,
gotta get that new copy.
Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
How many times has that movie been referenced, or the nails on the chalkboard? Like so many parts, so many things.
That whole thing. So yes, Jaws was such a huge movie. So. We had The Exorcist. I thought that was a great movie. But yeah, so you got John Williams working with Steven Spielberg on that, and John Williams continued to collaborate with Steven Spielberg. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I haven't seen that in a long time too.
Oh my god!
I remember not liking it very much though. The movie.
It's not my favorite.
I remember it being kind of boring.
And I've tried to. I was like, everybody keeps talking about how great this movie is. I'm going, but I had the video game. They had it on Atari, and when you put the cartridge. You put the cartridge.
That's hilarious.
And when you put the cartridge in, it goes. And I was like, you hear that because that's the music that you have to play for the aliens, so that they understand that we're not dumb apes and we actually understand each other. Yeah, John Williams worked with him on that, and I think he actually scored in 1942 with John Belushi. Also, that movie sucked ass, but 1942 was a bomb, and then 1941. Okay, my bad. So it's not 1941. So, but the movie was horrible, and he worked on that too. Hook. He did Hook. He scored Hook.
Hook was a big movie for me when I was a kid.
Yeah. Again,
we watched that a lot.
Yeah.
Now I think I had told you about this, but I had recently watched Hook again because it was on like some streaming service.
It's
like, Hook, So I watched it and I was like, wow, like this sounds so similar to the Harry Potter theme. And then I was like, oh no, wait a second. The Harry Potter theme sounds very similar to Hook, like very similar. There are certain parts where I'm like,
I'm going to tell you a secret.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg was one of the executive producers on the Harry Potter films.
Yeah, but John Williams score. But what I mean is like he was.
Do you? That's
there was a bit of recycling going on, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, right.
The Harry Potter, even though I like the Harry Potter score.
Oh, but you remember when I was saying that a lot of times they keep working with the same people.
Oh yeah.
And so John Williams and Steven Spielberg, Spielberg's executive producing the Harry Potter movies, and he hires his friend John Williams to score the Harry Potter movies.
And like those two main themes are classic, like the main theme and Hedwig's theme. They're pretty, like they're good. It's just I hadn't watched Hook in so long, and there's a lot of similarities between the two scores. It's very interesting.
I'm trying to remember. There's another movie that John Williams did. It's one of the. I think it's actually the first time that Christian Bale was seen on American television. It's a
Power of One. No, not Power of One.
Oh God!
No, I just looked this up. The Littlest Emperor. Is it the Littlest Emperor?
Was it Empire of the Sun?
Empire of the Sun. It's Empire of the Sun.
Okay, yeah. So Empire of the Sun. And that, I think Christian Bale was like 13 because he did.
Yeah, he's young.
Newsies around that same time. He was in Newsies, which was
I loved Newsies. I saw that in the movie theater and I loved it.
Yeah, it's like, so Christian Bale was in Empire of the Sun. So there you go. I love it when the chat. There you go. Empire of the Sun. So yes. So we talk about, but John Williams. Okay, so Jaws. They, Jaws was such a huge hit. He gets the Superman gig, which that was. I'm trying to remember.
It's a classic theme.
Yeah.
Dun dun
I would love to talk to John Williams if I ever get him. Richard Donner directed Superman and directed Superman 2 and got fired.
I'm not a huge fan of the movies, but I like the idea of Donner. I guess I don't know. It
was incredible. They've got.
I want to know what you thought about Margot Kidder as Lois Lane in the first one. I really need to know your opinion on this.
The second one, the third, the fourth.
Any of them, I need to know what you think about Margot Kidder as Lois Lane.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Yeah. She seems old and used. I'm sorry.
Yeah, even in the first one, she looked like her thing got blowed out.
It was like middle-aged plus Superman, like the whole thing. I don't know. It's weird.
Chris says Donner cut is great. Not a fan of Kidder, and I mean, God bless the dead and all that. Yeah, I just
like whatever.
She looked like she was.
I don't like her as Lois Lane.
She looked like she had been in a few trucker bars.
Yeah.
That's the. And I was the first one. She looked older.
Yes.
I mean, she looked older than Christopher Reeve.
Yep.
Yeah, that was another thing. She looked because that was Christopher Reeve was like 29 when they cast him as Superman.
She looked like she had been working at that newspaper for like 30 years.
And she had apparently been a model or something. And I saw some
She was popular at the time for some reason, right?
I saw some old photos of her like in black and white and stuff. She had done some modeling or something.
But she had like major drug problems and alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Like she was kind of messed up, I think.
And so, John Williams did that. And then, I thought did he work with Steven Spielberg on, because that was what was on Goonies and some of, because I saw he's like,
I love Goonies.
Yeah, Goonies. And
that's one of my first movie theater memories. I think I was 5 when I don't remember, but one of my mom's friends took like her kids and us to go see the Goonies. And I remember this specifically because she didn't buy us snacks. She brought her own homemade popcorn that she portioned out in little baggies, and there's no butter on it. And I just remember like the thought of eating cardboard while watching Goonies.
He helped Donner.
But I love the Goonies.
I thought Robert Zemeckis worked on Goonies too, but I'm not positive on that. Don't swear me to that. But okay. So but yeah, John Williams. So like he got Jaws, Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3. Yeah, but he scored a lot. So,
okay.
The Superman films. Okay, so Jaws, Superman, and then Star Wars.
Right. I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, Star Wars scored all 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Although 3 of them don't exist in my mind.
Well, they exist. Yeah. You don't have to talk about them.
I'm like the M&M's commercial. They do exist.
I just prefer talking about the main original 3.
No, I know some people don't like the prequels, but there are good things in the prequels. I do think George let the fans get to him too much, because I think Star Wars Theory, he has a huge YouTube channel with like over 1 million and stuff like that. But Star Wars Theory, he actually tweeted this out a few days ago, that one of the reasons why Lucas sold Lucasfilm is because of all the negative backlash that he got from the prequels. The fans just shit on him, and he was like, "Oh, I don't need this. Let me just sell it." And he got almost $5 billion for it. But now he looks at what they've done to his stuff, and he's like, damn, I should have kept that.
I just don't know why anyone's surprised that like Disney fight it. Like I just don't I'm not surprised. Like why was anybody surprised? Whatever.
But yeah, so you got, let me see. Okay, so the Star Wars films, Jurassic Park had all.
Yes, I love that theme.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
did. Yeah. So you had all those.
That was a huge soundtrack when it came out, not being a soundtrack. Like Jurassic Park, like the score was very popular. Like I remember people buying that CD, and it's like it's not a regular soundtrack; it's just a score. And that was a very popular score at that time when Jurassic Park came out.
So okay,
that's how I remember it.
So yeah, but like we said, we already know John Williams. That career is prolific. I mean,
man, he's a main man.
Oscars. Matter of fact, even at the Nashville Symphony and stuff, they had a John Williams night a couple years ago where they were just gonna play. They were selling out on the thing. They did like multiple performances of John Williams, and the whole point is just to listen to John Williams music, all like different, Superman theme, and they work in the Star Wars stuff, and it's all the different, obviously Indiana Jones and all these different movies. So, and Indiana Jones is not only Steven Spielberg, it's George Lucas. So that's George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. So, because matter of fact, George Lucas even said this. Steven Spielberg was the one that recommended John Williams to him to score Star Wars because he liked the music in Jaws, and he was like, I want something like that. He said, I'm doing like an old fashioned like serial, like Flash Gordon. He said, I wanted to have that kind of feel when the old action serials because when you used to go to the movies back in the day, a lot of those things that I used to watch when I was a little kid on like Saturday mornings, like those Three Stooges shorts and stuff like that, those were shot to be shown in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
They weren't showing trailers. Now when you go to especially a big movie, you're gonna have to sit through. I remember I was going to the movie with my girlfriend and we was like, okay, we can be a little late because it's gonna be about 15 minutes worth of trailers, especially on these big movies.
Yeah.
So
it'd be like a short, you get newsreel.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day.
That's what
in the movie.
Like and all that kind of stuff. So they
just like repeat it throughout the day.
Yeah, and it's just like that old, let's go out to the movies. Let's go out to the movies.
You hear a lot of old people talk about, or I think my grandma would talk about it. Like you'd go and you'd pay and you'd sit there. You could sit there like all day. Like the movie would just like this, it would just like repeat. You'd get the short, the newsreel, the movie, then just
my mom used to tell me because remember she had 9 brothers and sisters with my grandmom and granddad. So when the family would go to, you'd pay them a nickel or whatever, you could stay at the movies all day.
Yeah.
You would go, and it would be, they'd have the matinee, the noon matinee or whatever. You go get your popcorn or whatever. And that's the way you would be at the movies for like 6-7 hours. That's why like a lot of those old movies like Gone with the Wind,
yes,
they wasn't made to get you in and out the theater. Now,
then they had intermissions as well in those movies. Yeah.
They had intermissions, and they would you could go to the thing, and that's why you would see the dance and popcorn and drink. They want you to get out there and spend that money. And so, matter of fact, they had short movies that would show between the longer movies. There's some old movies on like TCM that were like 1 hour and 5 minutes. That's the runtime of the entire film. So 65 minutes, and it was a whole movie.
Yeah.
That was from beginning to end. That's the whole movie.
That's all they needed.
I was like, yeah. And we definitely need to acknowledge Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock, that thing that, it's like,
right. Yeah.
Psycho was
and didn't they also do a thing where like you couldn't sit like
with the birds, all the Hitchcock stuff was always so well scored. Room with a View, all that stuff, and I mean, back in the day when you would go to the movie, like my mom told me, that was an all day thing. You would go into the movies and it was all day. You'd go and you
got your nickels worth. God damn it!
And they had like the cowboy. They had different nights and stuff, and they would show like cowboy and Indian movies and stuff like that. John. Everybody forgets how big John Wayne was back in the day. John Wayne, was a huge movie star. Like John Wayne. I mean, that dude. Yeah, I mean, John Wayne. That dude was like the way Arnold Schwarzenegger was thought of like in the 80s, or the way like a Leonardo DiCaprio, George Clooney type movie star. Like John Wayne was so huge. I mean, he had, man, and just a lot. He did something with like there was so many of these longer movies, like even I'm trying to remember some of those old ones I used to watch him because what was it? Damn, I can't.
I'm not as familiar with the Western names. Like there's so many of them, and I mix them up a lot.
But I mean, he played in so many that was like, okay, so he's
True Grit, obviously. There's that one.
I'm talking about more the ones that aren't as classic. They're kind of
earlier ones.
Those older Wayne movies are kind of cheesy. Like, okay, it's right after World War II, and they're out in the Old West trying to
still be cowboys. And
that's the whole thing. So I don't know. Some of those old movies were they weren't quite as good, and then they started doing the war movies, which I remember he was like a sub captain in one, and so he plays. So
I don't like war movies very much. Usually there are the exceptions. I just don't care. Like to sit through it.
One where the guys got out, and the one guy had he had a prosthetic arm. New York, it's a hell of a town, and it had
talking about On the Town, the musical. That's what that song's from.
But they did a big movie with it, and the guy had a prosthetic arm. He won an Oscar. I remember he won an Oscar for that. I thought Gene Kelly was in it, and I mean
Who had a prosthetic arm?
God,
with Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly?
Yeah.
On the Town? Who had a prosthetic arm?
I'll have to look it up. There was
You'll
one guy.
have to, because I don't remember that at all.
The guy you can find it. He had a prosthetic.
I've seen the movie. I have it on DVD. It's actually in that case back there.
He won an Oscar. The guy actually won an Oscar.
I gotta look this up. One of the main 3 Navy guys had a prosthetic arm.
One of them. Let me see. Okay, let me look.
You must tell me.
I'm gonna have to look because this is
that's amazing.
Yeah, he won an Oscar.
You know who else is in that movie? And no, not in the movie, but was in the original Broadway show of On the Town? Rhoda's mom. I can't remember her name, but Rhoda's mom was in the original Broadway production.
Mom. Let's see, Gene Kelly, boom. It's like, okay, Judy Hop. Damn, that cast was crazy. Okay, so I'm like, it's a hell of a time. I'm like,
come up to my place. She's like trying to seduce Frank Sinatra to give her sex, and he just won't do it. He wants to go look at tourist attractions instead of getting laid on his shore leave.
Yeah, well, I mean, not me. I would rather. Yeah,
she was throwing herself at him.
Oh yeah, I'm looking.
He wasn't having it.
I'm trying to find this. I'll have to find it because I'm like, God, I'm trying to find.
Okay, we can move on. We'll figure.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. It is.
What else with John Williams? I mean, we've mentioned the main. I mean, everyone knows his main stuff. Is there anything that is more obscure that is good? Anybody in chat, maybe? Any like lesser known things?
Did he score what was the movie with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery and Robert De Niro, where De Niro played Al Capone? I'm trying to remember who scored that. God,
The Untouchables.
The Untouchables. Okay, hold on, let me see.
You might be right. That might be John Williams.
I don't know. I'm looking it up now. I'm trying to see who
could be John Williams.
That's cool because I love that theme. It's like I love the let me see awards.
Oh, E.T. Yeah. For me, also as a kid, the Home Alone films.
No, like, it's Ennio Morricone. That's he scored The Untouchable because I love.
Okay, that's who I was. Yeah, that's why because I was looking up him.
Yeah,
he's good.
I was just like, oh man, that one thing where they're on horseback and all of them running.
I'd say Morricone knows what he's doing. I'd say.
Oh my God, that was such a the Untouchables.
Oh my God, listen to this. John Williams did the incidental music for the first season of Gilligan's Island. It's random. That's super random.
But Gilligan's Island. So, Valley of the Dolls. Valley of the Dolls was written by Roger Ebert.
That's right.
Yes, it was. I think he wrote. I think it was his novel, and they optioned it or something. But he's
is Patty Duke in that, or am I mixing that up with a different?
It was shitty. That's all I remember.
Movie.
Like, they still show it. It's just like when you watch Valley Girls with Nicolas Cage in it, and at the end of Valley Girls, they play at the end of Valley Girls when the credits are rolling up. They play "I'll Stop the World and Melt with You," which I love. That movie wasn't great, but I loved. I'll stop the world and melt with you. Yeah, it's like, I love that. I love that song. I was like, I've listened to that song. I was like, oh God. Making love was never second best. I love that. But yeah, Nicolas Cage was in Valley Girls. And oh, he did do Munich, didn't he? Our Chris is coming with the heat in the chat. Munich. That is again Steven Spielberg, wasn't it? Spielberg. I'm pretty sure that was when he started doing, but he was doing those serious movies. Because do you remember Always? Steven Spielberg?
Yes, I do, with John Goodman and Sally Field, and who was the other guy in it? Who was the
Close Encounters of the Third Kind or whatever?
Oh, Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Who was the dead one? Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss was the ghost.
Okay. Yes, I remember Always. How do I remember that movie? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God.
I haven't thought of that movie in a while.
Yeah, but that was Steven. That was like when Steven.
That was on fucking cable all the time. That movie.
Yeah, but I love. Steven Spielberg, Always, and he was trying to get into doing more serious films because he had been doing like the little more kiddie fair stuff, and he was trying to transition into doing more serious. So he did that one, and he did Empire of the Suns, and he did Hook, and then he just started doing. He started wanting to do more serious stuff. So we definitely got to mention Alan Silvestri. Alan Silvestri, who did the score for Forrest Gump.
Okay, I was trying to say, okay, so what did he do?
Alan Silvestri but yeah,
kind of repeats over and over again, to be honest.
Oh my God, yeah. I just stop it.
What? I'm just being honest.
You taking like some.
I'm not saying I don't like it. It's very memorable. But I had just re-listened to it, and I was like, yeah, it's good, but
But no, Robert Zemeckis deserved his Oscar for that, and I was like, no, Forrest Gump, because they had originally paired up on Back to the Future. So Robert Zemeckis, which that was again Steven Spielberg produced and hired. It was through his Amblin Entertainment. And how could I?
So
John Williams with E.T. How the hell did I forget John Williams?
I said E.T., but I don't think you heard me. I was probably talking over you or something.
Oh, I'm trying to remember all the John Williams, Steven Spielberg stuff. So Jaws, E.T.
and Schindler's List.
Oh yes, Schindler's List. Oh my God. So it's hard to watch Schindler's List, but I've sat through it a few times. It's incredible, but it's very hard to get through it sometimes.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out, and that's pretty much it. Like one and done. I'm good on that.
Because I love Ray Fiennes in it.
He's a son of a bitch in that movie.
Performance, and he got robbed. He's been nominated.
I remember that.
He got nominated for several Oscars because he was in, what was that other movie that he was in where he was trapped in the desert or something, and I remember, I can't remember that movie. Okay, I gotta pull it. Ray Fiennes. I was like, let me see. Ray Fiennes. Okay, here it is. Let's see. So I had to find it because his movies, because he's done so many incredible, but he should have won The English Patient.
Ugh, God, I hate that movie. I'm like I connect very much with Elaine in that Seinfeld episode when everybody loves The English Patient and she just doesn't get it. She's like, I'm so effing bored right now. Like, that's how I feel about The English Patient. I hate The English Patient. No, thank you. But hey, he may have acted well in it. I just don't care.
Yes, it was. Yes, The English Patient.
Oh, so, I hate it.
But Ray Fiennes, he should have won. He should have won for Schindler's List, and he's been nominated multiple times for Oscars. And I thought,
has he? He hasn't won one yet.
He never won, and I thought certain movies, you're not going to get roles like that again. So it's
no, especially not after having played Lord Voldemort as well. So he's kind of maybe past it at this point.
He played Voldemort, but he's also the new M in the James Bond movies.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not an Oscar-worthy role though either.
No, that's definitely not Oscar-worthy.
That's popcorn. That's popcorn.
I saw The Grand Budapest Hotel. He was in that. I was like, The Constant Gardener is great. He was great in Red Dragon. Skyfall. Yeah, I was like, my God. All the Harry Potter.
No, he's a good actor. He's a great actor.
But I
just don't care for The English Patient. But I do remember that.
He got robbed for Schindler's List. He got robbed.
I'm gonna go.
I don't know him out because there was. I'm sure there was. I mean, if they didn't give it to him, I'm sure whoever deserved because I'm trying.
Was that Titanic year?
Oh my God!
Did some asshole win for Titanic? Another one of my hated movies.
I'm the king of the world.
I'm gonna look up the Academy Awards for '93 and see if what it was up against.
Yeah, I know. I was happy James Cameron because James Cameron, has
wrong year.
He's a lot of times he got robbed for like Aliens. I thought James Cameron did incredible. Yeah, definitely Constant Gardener. Constant Gardener is incredible. Yeah, Art Chris, I agree with you. Constant Gardener is incredible. But yeah, I like The English Patient. But so I like some of those. I like some of those old, those kind of longer.
Oh my God, he so got robbed, Antonio. Okay, listen to this. Okay, actually, a couple people got robbed. Okay, considering who won in the category of Best Supporting Actor at the 66th Academy Awards. Pete Postlethwaite for In the Name of the Father, John Malkovich in The Line of Fire, Ralph Fiennes, Schindler's List, Leonardo DiCaprio for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, another excellent performance.
Was great in What's Eating Gilbert's Grape. I did like him in that.
But the winner that year, Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive.
Okay,
he's fine in it, but it's not Academy Award worthy, is it?
Okay, here we go. Tommy Lee Jones, who was roommates with Al Gore at the University of Tennessee. I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones, they were roommates. Al Gore and him were roommates at UT.
Is Tommy Lee Jones in that South Park movie, the marionette movie, where they make fun of the celebrities? Team America. Do they make fun of him in Team America for that? Huh. Anyway, I don't know why I just thought of that. That's interesting.
Let me say this. I did like Tommy Lee Jones' performance.
I like The Fugitive. It's a fun movie. It's fine.
Yeah, he was good in The Fugitive.
Yeah,
but
fine.
That wasn't an Oscar-winning performance.
Not with these other names I listed off in the category.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I remember I just said I watched it live on television. Yeah. I watch the Oscars live on television every year.
Because I had to see who won.
It was crazy, but I was like a little 8-year-old black boy, and I was watching the Oscars, and everybody was like, "Why are you watching the Oscars?" It's like I'm not supposed to watch the Oscars, but I always enjoyed it. So,
it's a spectacle. It's usually a lame spectacle, but it's a spectacle nonetheless.
YouTube, if you want to watch Tommy Lee Jones win the Oscar, when he goes up to accept his award, I remember he won for The Fugitive. He had to cut. All his hair was cut off in like a little bowl thing.
What?
he was shooting the Ty Cobb biopic at the time.
And that's funny.
They had to, because he actually, when he went up and accepted the award, he said, "I'm not really bald. I'm shooting the Ty Cobb."
That's hilarious.
He knew when he went up there, everybody was going to say, they were like, "Oh, Tommy Lee Jones."
He probably thought he was never going to win, to be honest. I mean, seriously.
Now, these are facts. You can find these clips on YouTube. Tommy Lee Jones accepts his Academy Award. When he goes up, you see his head is clean shaven up there, and like I said, it's just up there. He's got the George Jefferson going. He got the hilarious. He explains that he's shooting the Ty Cobb movie, which Ty Cobb was a racist piece of shit. But okay, but I watched that movie, the Ty Cobb movie, with Tommy Lee Jones in it. It wasn't
okay. I just looked up a picture. It's hilarious. Yeah, so he's got the. Yeah.
I don't guess you could do screen share, can you, or no?
I just pulled it up on my iPad in front of me, so I didn't even. Yeah, but it's the classic. It's just the classic bald guy look with just the the strip going around.
I'm telling
that
the
is
truth.
Funny. I can't believe he won for The Fugitive in that category. Wow, that's amazing.
The clear winner in that category, and no disrespect to anybody else, it clearly should have been Ray Fiennes for sure.
Yeah, but what movie was making the most money at that time? I bet
The Fugitive was huge.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean.
I'm pretty sure Harrison Ford got nominated for Best Actor as well.
Let me see. He absolutely did not, because you've got Liam Neeson for Schindler's List, Anthony Hopkins, Lawrence Fishburne for What's Love Got to Do with It, Daniel Day-Lewis for The Name of the Father, and Tom Hanks won for Philadelphia. So he kind of didn't stand a chance.
Because he won back-to-back.
That's right.
Was that his first win? Because I remember he got nominated. He actually got nominated for 3 years in a row. He got nominated for Philadelphia, which he won. Forrest Gump, he won. And then he also got nominated for Apollo 13.
Holy crap. The Fugitive was nominated for Best Picture that year. I find that so strange.
It was.
It's a good movie, but
it's not.
It's interesting.
I mean, but when you see that sequel, U.S. Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes,
I didn't see the sequel.
You didn't see U.S. Marshals, okay? Because
no, did not see the sequel. The Streets of Philadelphia by Bruce Springsteen won for original song, but Janet Jackson was nominated that year for Again from Poetic Justice.
I'm trying to remember. And Philadelphia was directed by John Demme. His brother is Ted Demme, who is no longer with us, and he used to work for MTV and direct a lot of their stuff. Used to like those old TV shows like Remote Control and stuff like that. Ted Demme used to. But Ted Demme directed some movie videos and stuff. But I remember John Demme and Ted Demme. But Ted Demme, we lost Ted Demme at least 5 or 6 years ago, I thought. But I remember when Bruce Springsteen got nominated for it, because he's one of a few people that have won Oscars. Prince won an Oscar for Purple Rain. Don't say,
okay. I was like, it wasn't for Bat Dance, right?
I can't remember the chick that did What a Feeling from
I don't know her name.
Last Dance. She won an Oscar for that. She won a Grammy too. They gave her a Grammy and an Oscar for that.
Irene Cara,
yeah. Irene Cara, she got the Oscar for What a Feeling. You got Lionel Richie that won Oscar for White Nights for Say You, Say Me. You got what's the name?
Lady Gaga won recently as well.
Lady Gaga won an Oscar for the
Star is Born.
You had what's my girl? I Set Fire to the Rain and all
Adele.
that. Adele. Fire to the rain. Skyfall, the James Bond movie.
Skyfall. Have you ever, Paul F. Tompkins, Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack, who's on Mr. Show. He has a podcast that he does. He does a lot of voices for things. He does a bit on one of his stand-up routines. You can find it online, but he sings Skyfall, and it's pretty funny.
Ted Demme did Blow with Johnny Depp. That is good. Thank you, Abel Salazar, for that one, because I
did Blow and made the movie Blow.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. So, I'm trying to remember. because we had talked about Red Dragon earlier. That was Brett Ratner, who had also directed the Rush Hour movies and executive produced Wonder Woman, and then got accused of multiple sexual harassments and assaults and different stuff. And so
so he's out of there.
Gal Gadot said that if he is still working on the movie, then you will not have me for Wonder Woman anymore. And so they got rid of him. Although what nobody tells you is they had to pay him. They did have to pay him all.
Sure, because he's under contract from
He's executive producer. So yeah, they didn't just, we fired you. No, you got like $40 million. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna give you we'll give you some points on the movie, which it's gonna still be Wonder Woman 84. He's still gonna get money on that movie. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, he got fired, but he's still gonna make like $35-40 million because he was executive producer.
He'll be fine.
So yeah,
he'll be fine.
Yeah. So and he's not sitting in jail, and he's not been charged with anything either. And this came out like 2 years ago, and he's free, and he hadn't been charged with anything. So that's
and he's got $40 million in his pocket. He's probably fine and dandy, seriously. Unless he's someone who's obsessed with his work. He's probably fine,
The movies that Brett Ratner directed, I'm telling you, he's got over $1 billion. Like the Rush Hour movies alone. He did and Brett Ratner was a MTV director. He directed a lot of. You used to see his name come up on he directed hip hop videos on And matter of fact, Can I Get a What, which was part of the with Jay-Z and Ja Rule. That was a huge hit, but I think they put it in Rush Hour 2 or 3. I think it was Rush Hour 2. And they put that, and Brett Ratner directed the video. I think he also directed the Wild Wild West video with Will Smith and
Wild Wild West.
Will Smith is James West. They just completely didn't. It's like, he's a slave. Rush Hour 3 is terrible art, Chris. I agree with you 1,000%. Rush Hour 3 is god awful, and I was excited they waited way too long to shoot it. And then when they came back, if you notice, Chris Tucker has gained a noticeable amount of weight by the time Rush Hour 1 and 2, beautiful movies. By the time they get to Rush Hour 3, Chris Tucker needs like a tummy tuck or something. He's a little heavier. If you look at him now, I mean,
is he big right now? Bigger right now? I don't think I've seen him in a long time. I mean, wasn't he like a skinny beanpole?
Cameo. You can actually book Chris Tucker for like $300 to do a shout out on Cameo. And he's on Cameo. I think it's Cameo.com.
I gotta look up what he looks like right now. Just
a little chunkier. He's not like
he's not big. I thought you meant he seriously gained weight. He just looks more like a man instead of like a skinny kid.
From the time, it's like when
he's just older.
You look, and there was a meme. I have to find it and tag you in on it on Instagram. There's a meme that shows D'Angelo, the singer. I don't know if you never listened to it.
It's not my thing, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
they showed a meme of D'Angelo, and D'Angelo. The first part of the meme was D'Angelo in shape, which he was in incredible shape when he shot that "How Does It Feel" video. He was butt naked in the video and all thing. And then the next picture, I think he had gotten arrested or something.
Oh no,
he was clearly at least about 125 pounds heavier.
Wow,
he all blowed up. Yeah, I'll have to find when I find it.
Oh, I see it. I mean, I see the before, and then I see a mugshot, and I'm like,
God,
yeah, he looks bigger.
He looks like he should be lining up for like the Cleveland Browns or something. I mean,
that is so funny that you just said it because I just watched some stupid Bar Rescue episode with Lawrence Taylor, and this picture I'm looking at, I'm like, he looks like Lawrence Taylor in this picture. Crazy. Like he looks like a football player.
Oh, you put the disclaimer before Rush Hour 3 now. Are they putting a disclaimer?
Wait, what kind of disclaimer?
That's what I'm about to ask. Because Adam Bonetta, in the chat, thank you for.
Was there blackface in it?
No,
or something.
I
don't know.
Yeah. There's a couple things in Rush Hour 3. Number one, who's the guy that directed a couple Rosemary's Baby and all those movies that got he fled the country for
Roman Polanski.
He has a cameo in it because they shot some of it in France.
And Whoa. Wait. Rush Hour 3, which was made in what, the 90s or early 2000s? They put a cameo of Roman Polanski in their movie? F off, you guys, with that. Come on, filmmakers. That's crazy. That's weird.
Here's something else.
Yeah.
Hold up. Roman Polanski has won 2 Oscars since.
You're right. Yes, he has. You're right.
Because one was, what was the movie with the piano player or whatever? With Adrian, the piano. So he directed.
I was gonna say the piano. Yeah.
But I'm trying to. He's been nominated multiple times, and because he can't come to the U.S. because he'll get arrested.
Right. They'll snatch him up.
There are people trying to get those charges because the girl that she was like 13 or whatever when he slipped her quaaludes and did all that crazy stuff to her, the anal, all that weird stuff in the hot tub. But she was only like 13. Obviously, he had been engaged to Sharon Tate, who.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So
all sorts of Roman Polanski, like who?
Yeah, Roman Polanski.
I don't care if he gets his award. Who cares?
No, but Roman Polanski has a cameo in Rush Hour 3.
That's insane.
When he popped up on the screen, I said, "Oh shit, is that Roman Polanski?"
That's weird. Wait, is that why there's a disclaimer on it?
No, I doubt that. It's probably because of the charges that are against Brett Ratner or the accusations that are against Brett Ratner now.
Okay.
Because they still show movies like Frantic that Roman Polanski, Harrison Ford.
Right.
Yeah, they still, and they Harrison Ford in Frantic, and they love it. They don't talk about any of the horrible stuff that Roman Polanski was accused of doing. But yeah, that's why he won't come back to the U.S. Let's see. Chris Tucker wasn't. Adam Manetta says Chris Tucker wasn't as heavy as Martin Lawrence was in Bad Boys 3. Look at Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys 2. He had started chunking up in Bad Boys 2 because of the time he was skinny. If you look at Bad Boys 1 and how skinny. Matter of fact, you watch Bad Boys 1 and Martin Lawrence is billed over Will Smith. He's because he wasn't Will Smith then. So it was Martin Lawrence, Will Smith. The rest of the movies are Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, and he gets you
have to remember too. Even the actors in Hollywood, especially for these sorts of movies, like they've got to keep it in shape, just like the women have to do, and they get into things. And Martin Lawrence was probably just like normal sized in Bad Boys 2, whereas in Bad Boys 1, he probably worked his ass off to get into that sort of shape.
Yeah. Okay, so Adam Manetta says that the disclaimer that USA used says it said 90s buddy cop movies are out there. So they probably
that's the disclaimer?
So they probably said some stuff that definitely would not, the PC police would get them out the paint for saying.
But that's not a 90s buddy cop movie thing. That's like movie thing.
The first Rush Hour and the second one, the first one definitely came out. I thought the first one came out in 98 or so, 97.
Yeah, but watch any comedy from back then and you're going to find problematic things in like all of them. But so yeah, I can't, that's the disclaimer. That's wild to me. That's funny. That's kind of funny.
But yeah, Art Chris says that he didn't realize. Yeah, Roman Polanski makes a cameo in Rush Hour 3.
That is wild.
Also, was it Meg Tyler? Meg Tyler, Steven Tyler's other daughter, not Liv Tyler. He's got Liv Tyler and he's got Meg Tyler. Meg Tyler is one of, she was a plus size model, and she's one of the women at the very beginning of Rush Hour 3. There was 2 girls, and one of them was a little heavy set, and Chris Tucker like pulls them over or whatever it does. Yeah, so yeah, she was that. So that was Meg Tyler in that. Meg Tyler was very nice to me, by the way, when on MySpace, when I was still working in the music business, there was a band that I had on my label called Dorcia, and she loved them.
That's awesome.
And we actually sent her. She gave us her office's address. She wanted us to send her a CD, and she actually put Dorcia. They didn't know this because we went on her MySpace page. She was playing. How you had the music player on your MySpace page?
Right. Yeah.
She actually took a Dorcia song from their page and was playing it for everyone to hear when they went.
That's awesome.
I was like, holy shit, Meg Tyler. And I'm telling you, on her MySpace, she had a couple 100,000 people that were following her. So that was huge. And she actually put them in her top friends and all this kind of stuff. I was like, that was incredible. So I was like, hey, she's a sweetheart. I love Meg. I would love to talk to her. I don't know what she's doing now. I'd have to find her on like the Twitter or whatever. But no, but yeah, Rush Hour. That's when I noticed when the 90s came in, a lot of those movies, like a lot of the early movies we talked about, they actually had scores and all this, and then you start getting more like soundtracks,
right?
Where it's more theme songs and stuff like that. You know, it's like because the Rush Hour was built around just different. You know, they would have all the different songs like Nutty Professor, the Eddie Murphy version. That was Def Jam had the record contract for that. And so all you had was a bunch of like Jay-Z and different Def Jam artists, and they were all featured on. And I bought it. It was all on. So
I was just in my head trying to think of comedy movie scores, and then I saw a thing, and we cannot forget to talk about a Danny Elfman.
Yeah, but see, I'm going back because, like I said, I had mentioned before we went all on the Rush Hour and stuff. We were talking about Alan Silvestri. So Alan Silvestri had worked with he had worked with Robert Zemeckis on Back to the Future, all three of those movies. So he scored those movies.
Did he do 3? Did he do the Western stuff in 3 as well? But I mean, he did the Western music stuff in 3. Silvestri, he did the whole thing.
The movies, yeah, because I mean because remember they shot Back to the Future 2 and 3 at the same time.
Oh yeah, I remember. Trust me, I remember. I was super excited at the time.
Yeah, because I remember when I was at the theater.
So excited.
Because I saw Back to the Future 1 on home video. Went to the movie theater to watch 2. I went to the movie theater to watch 2, and then watched the little trailer at the end.
When they gave that trailer,
yeah,
it was like, it's real. It's real.
And then so you saw the cowboy stuff for 3, and then I wasn't able to get to the theater to watch Back to the Future 3, and so I watched that on cable. So, but I was like, but yeah, it had the ZZ Top stuff in it and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the first one was Huey Lewis. First one was Huey Lewis in the News, and that was back in it. Man, I forgot who remembers how big Huey Lewis in the News was in the 80s.
I do, because my parents loved Huey Lewis in the News. Like, they had all the albums.
I don't mind, but you gotta promise me I'll be back in time. I used to love that. Gotta get back in time. And Power of Love and all that. Man, yeah. Huey Lewis was huge, and he was probably the oldest dude on MTV when MTV was popping. They were, think about it.
Possibly.
When MTV, when he was in his prime and they were playing his stuff all on MTV, Power of Love and all those different videos, then you had bands like Aerosmith and you had like Rat and Poison and Alice in Chains and all of, they were playing
Warrant. Does anybody remember Warrant? Cherry Pie?
Yeah, so you would see that, and then there weren't any boy bands then. They start playing like new Kids on the Block, new Edition.
I loved New Kids on the Block when I was younger.
But they had all that stuff, and then Huey Lewis was there. And then I remember they came out with VH1, and they shifted Huey over to VH1.
Poor Huey.
It's hip to be square. I was like, they shifted him over. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, because he was like the oldest dude. He was, what do you remember Huey Lewis giving it all for my baby? Giving it all
for my
baby. She's as fine as she could be. I was like, man.
Were there any Iggy Pop videos around that time? I'm just trying to think of anybody who could have been older than...
He wasn't
big
Huey, because that's
on MTV.
They did a documentary on MTV, and that was one of the complaints because they were like, David Bowie was huge in the 70s, so like he came into the 80s, and MTV wasn't showing him as much love. You would, especially towards the end of the 80s. In the early 80s, he was still getting a little bit of love on MTV. But he started aging out, and they were playing like New Kids and stuff. They weren't playing. They weren't Debbie Gibson.
I saw Debbie Gibson in concert back in the day.
And what's the other chick? there was a Debbie Gibson clone that posed in Playboy. I remember.
A what?
She
looked like her. She's now Deborah Gibson, by the way.
Yeah, I know she's Deborah Gibson now, but there was what was the other girl? I think we're alone now.
Tiffany,
yeah, that's her. And do you remember Martika? Step by step, heart to heart.
I remember that song.
We all fall down like toy
soldiers. Yes, I remember the song. That's hilarious.
I remember her. That was the only hit she had, but boy, I love that one, man.
Yeah, one hit wonder.
Or what about this one? Or is this burning an eternal flame?
Yes, the Bengals, Antonio, who I also saw in concert. Okay, so you know Six Flags, the amusement park places. So we had a place around
Georgia, Six Flags.
Yeah, they're all over the place. But we had it wasn't Six Flags at the time, but it was Paramont's Great America. Later became a Six Flags. But we'd always go and see concerts there during the summer, and I saw Color Me Bad. Do you remember Color Me Bad? But I also saw the Bengals, and I got this shirt that I would wear constantly. I'd wear it to school. I'd wear it like to bed. It was this like oversized tie-dye t-shirt that just like said the Bengals on it. Like, so nerdy.
The guy from this lead singer from Color Me Bad, he gained like 200 something pounds. He got big as a house.
Really?
He was trying to lose weight, and they had him on this VH1 show. It was called Mission Man Band or Operation Man Band.
Oh my gosh.
It was him. It was him and the guy with the dreads from the New Kids on the Block. I mean, not from NSYNC. The guy from NSYNC with the what is it?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name. I only remember JC from the new Mickey Mouse Club, which I watched at the
time. But I remember, the lead singer from Color Me Bad, he looked like me. He looked like they had put a fat suit on it.
Do you remember their cameo in Beverly Hills 90210? That episode when they went to their concert?
Boy, they were huge though. They had that song "Forever Love." They had a matter of fact,
they weren't good.
Color Me Bad wasn't good.
They had one album. They have like one album, and that was it.
One album, but boy, that thing had some bangers on it.
Listen, I liked it at the time.
Oh my god. I adore me more.
I think that's the one they sing in Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh man, yeah. Color Me Bad. Yeah, they did. Oh my god, Art Chris.
Yes, they played at the Peach Pit after dark. Yes. No, actually, they didn't. No, they didn't. This was pre-Peach Pit. This was pre-Peach Pit. I believe they were still in high school and they were going to, because I remember there's a hotel and like they meet them and all this stuff. Like, it was definitely pre-college 90210. Pre-Peach Pit after dark.
College years, when they went to college years. And did you ever watch 90210 Summer? The summer episodes.
Yeah, of course. When they're at the beach working at the beach club.
I used to
Lisa's not working. She's just there with her rich parents.
But I watched all the Fox stuff because Fox, I was writing that because I was writing 22 or something. So I'm watching Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Oh my gosh. Synchronized watches.
Yeah, synchronized swatches.
Swatches.
Synchronized swatches. I remember that. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. They had the X-Files. They had, Fox had In Living Color. Man,
you can do what you want to do.
I'm about to get obscure with you.
Okay.
Fox had a show called Duet. The star of that show was a woman by the name of Allison LaPlaca. Okay, you can Google that. Allison LaPlaca, and it was then they spun the show off onto another show. And Ellen DeGeneres, that was one of the first shows. Ellen DeGeneres was the wacky secretary in Allison LaPlaca's show. Allison LaPlaca.
Wow, and this is obscure. I don't remember this. I just have I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, that's why I used to watch. Yeah, Duet. I used to watch Fox all the time.
Man.
And Fox was my show because they had Alienation on there. Fox, I remember they had We Picked the Sun and Dawn's on the Newcomer. We picked the sun on the It was like, I used to watch. That was just like, I loved it. But Allison LaPlaca. But and they also had what was that show? Get a Life with the guy that was on
Chris Elliott.
Yeah, Chris Elliott from the David Letterman show. And,
and in many things. He's at the latest thing he's in is Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
which I recommend that show, but it's not for everybody. But I enjoy it. But I also love Catherine. I love Catherine O'Hara, so
So
she's funny in it to me.
Yeah, so and that's directed by I know it's produced obviously by Eugene Levy and all that kind of stuff.
And Dan Levy, his son, wrote and made the show. But speaking of Catherine O'Hara, she's starred, or she's one of the voices. Well, she was in Home Alone, which was a John Williams movie, but she's also in A Nightmare Before Christmas. Which
Jack Skellington?
She's one of she's Lock, Stock, or Barrel, but with music written by Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman. So okay, Danny Elfman. I mean, I have to mention Danny Elfman because of all the stuff that he did with Tim Burton, but
not all of it.
Well, okay, calm down.
No, I'm sorry. No, I will not calm down.
But I also have to acknowledge that he is the guy that scored the Simpsons theme song, even though that's television and we're only doing movie stuff. But Danny Elfman.
We have not only done movie stuff today.
I know we veer off, but
these guys do more than just movies.
But they do film and television.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm saying we've mainly only talked about movie stuff, and then we go, oh, they did this on television as well.
Yeah.
So Danny Elfman scored the Simpsons theme song, which is very famous piece of music, obviously. Yes. So okay, Danny Elfman, and then, but let's talk about his movie stuff. Working with Tim Burton on Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's. I'm listening to Reason. There's so many lines. I love it.
That first one was great. Big Top Pee-wee did not enjoy as much.
It has some moments,
but Danny Elfman, God, is
pulling up his. So he did The Forbidden Zone, and then Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Oh, and Back to School. He did Back to School. Oh, he did the soundtrack for Summer School, because that's like Oingo Boingo stuff, right? Summer School.
Yeah, Oingo Boingo. Listen, Art Chris is bringing the heat in the chat, man. Oingo Boingo.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
After Summer School comes Beetlejuice.
Didn't he do?
That's another movie that's burned in my brain.
Scissorhands too. Did he do Edward Scissorhands?
Another movie that's I watched constantly as a young girl.
Beetlejuice. Would have been funny if Beetlejuice showed up behind me after I said that. That would have been.
You're like, holy crap!
Batman would have gotten the same. And here's another thing: a lot of people don't realize, even when they go, because Beetlejuice is Gina Davis, who hadn't won her Oscar yet. She ended up winning an Oscar. I thought it was for a movie called The Tourist. She ended up winning. But
I think you're right. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, there was she won a Best Supporting Actress, but this was before that. But Gina Davis and
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Both looking very just like a normal Midwestern.
Very early Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Very early Alec Baldwin.
Very thin looking.
But
like sun-kissed hair, kind of like light brown hair.
Okay, that's it. That's not it. I said The Tourist. It's called The Accidental.
Oh, Accidental.
That's what it is. I was like, I knew it was something Tourist. Okay. Yeah. But this is Gina Davis won Best Supporting Actress in The Accidental Tourist, and she was great in it, by the way. But this is Alec Baldwin right before he did The Hunt for Red October. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Alec Baldwin was Jack Ryan before Harrison Ford was. So because matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, James Earl Jones is still in Hunt for Red October, and then they did Patriot Games, and I thought it was it Clear and Present Danger?
It was all the same characters?
Yeah, it's Jack Ryan. Ryan.
I watched them at the time, but I didn't really care much.
I watched Hunt for Red October, and I didn't realize. Then I watched Harrison Ford play Jack Ryan in Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, and those were both big
books, right? So he's the character, obviously.
Tom Clancy that Splinter Cell and all that, which there was supposed to be a Splinter Cell Netflix show or something, and it never happened. I was waiting on that because it was before he died. And then Tom Clancy, because Tom Clancy tried to purchase the Minnesota Vikings. He's from Minnesota. He tried to buy the Vikings for like $600 million, although which was a huge offer. They were losing at that time. And now you'd have to pay like $2 billion to get like to get the Viking. I mean, to get an NFL franchise, any franchise now, to get an NFL franchise, you have to pay at least $2 billion to get even
probably a quorum going or something.
Even like the Cleveland Browns, you couldn't get them for less just because of the stadium and all this. Yeah, but I mean, he tried to. He had put a team together. They offered like $600 million to buy the Minnesota Vikings. But Tom Clancy, that's when you knew Tom Clancy, he was making, because they talk about how much money Stephen King makes from writing novels. Tom Clancy was making money from writing novels. These are facts. And this is Tom Clancy was stacking some serious novel money. And then they did the Splinter Cell stuff. And then what was that other, there's another game, Rainbow Six.
Mm-hmm.
And he did Rainbow Six and both of those games. And I mean, he makes so much money. I mean, well, he did. I'm sure his estate is happy with Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell. He makes so much money off of those video games, and not to mention all the novels that he wrote, but that were he was making so much money. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Stephen King is definitely stacking that paper off his movies as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Tom Clancy was doing all that. But but Alec Baldwin was the first Jack Ryan. He was in Hunt for Red October, and then he didn't come back, and they got Harrison Ford in Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games. So that was they got him for both of those. Then he didn't want to, and then they brought Ben Affleck in, and now they have now they're doing the Jack Ryan television show on Amazon, which is fantastic.
Is that the one with the Jim from The Office?
Yeah, and Wendell Pierce from The Wire. Yeah, is he took over the Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones role. They always have a black guy in that role because James Earl Jones was the first one, and then Morgan Freeman, and then now it's Wendell Pierce. But yeah, James Earl Jones, I'm pretty sure he was in Hunt for Red. He was definitely in the two with Harrison Ford. I thought he was in Hunt for Red October as well. But yeah, Alec Baldwin was Jack Ryan in Hunt for Red October, which when I went back and watched, I said, wait a minute, Jack Ryan? Is he playing Jack Ryan? Because it is a Tom Clancy story and all that kind of stuff. So that's but yeah, okay. So yeah, Danny Elfman is baller though.
Yeah, looking at the list, I forget this, but he did Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy. I remember because half of the music in there is Madonna songs.
Yeah,
Madonna songs. And I watched this a few weeks ago, and I also forgot that Mandy Patinkin plays the piano player, and he also sings a song in it, which warmed my heart because I'm a huge Mandy Patinkin fan. But so that was super random.
You killed my father, prepare to die. Yeah, what? That's Princess Diaries. Come on, man.
I love Princess Bride.
Princess
Not
Bride.
the Princess Diaries.
Your Princess Diaries.
With Julie Andrews.
What was that? Yeah, Julie Andrews and oh man, the hills are alive with the sound of you. And Mary Poppins, hum diddle him and her and Dick Van Dyke and I love Julie Andrews. And,
I love Julie Andrews.
Yeah, Julie Andrews is baller, man. I love.
I like Victor Victoria until it gets to the end, and I hate the ending.
Yeah,
I do. She basically gives up her career just to keep fucking James Garner. It's really weird when the whole point of the whole movie was her being able to sing. It's very strange to me. I'm like, this is how it ends. I'm like, Antonio would love this. It ends in a love affair.
I like that you're thinking shade towards me when you're watching. You're like, oh.
Not even.
Just completely shitting on me while you're watching.
No way.
Yes, I do like Happy. Matter of fact, I watched 4 weeks because I can't think of anybody else that because like I said, we did.
Well, let's just really quick with Danny Elfman. Okay, like obviously Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Edward Scissorhands, Batman. I mean, that Batman theme when Batman came back was huge. Again, Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh my God, I did Dolores Claiborne. That's hilarious. Mars Attacks, Men in Black.
That's Tim Burton again.
Good Will Hunting. He did Good Will Hunting. Anyway, he's got a slew of stuff.
I also want to acknowledge the work of people like James Horner.
Give me a few James Horner things so I can remember.
Like the Batman Returns, Batman the Dark Knight, which I loved. They did Batman the Dark Knight with the Joker, and they had that kind of weird choppy violin and they actually filmed. There's a little behind the scenes thing how they got that sound. They actually had the violin players put razor blades on their bow. So that when they oh yes, glory, Art Chris, you are. Oh my God, Art Chris,
you put us out today.
I was like, Art Chris, if you was Art Chris, I am digging your vibe today, brother. Thank you so much. You have brought so much. I like
his avatar picture too. It was a little crazy monster. What is that, Art Chris?
I love it. Art Chris is definitely yes. Do you understand how much I love Glory? Glory is one of my favorite movies. I've
seen that in years.
Glory, yes. Glory is incredible. It's definitely one of my favorites. And the very first time that Denzel Washington wins one of 2 Oscars, got nominated multiple times. He got nominated for Malcolm X. He got nominated for Denzel wins his Best Supporting Oscar, and that made him only the 3rd Black person to win an Oscar at that time when he won. Because
that's amazing, isn't it? Like in the 90s,
he won. No, he was the 4th. My bad, because I can tell you exactly who they were.
Yeah, tell me.
First one was the young lady that was in Gone with the Wind.
But wasn't that like an honorary Oscar, or was it a real Oscar? That wasn't like a Shirley Temple Oscar or some bullshit.
No. Yeah, Shirley Temple won a junior Oscar. Yes, but she was the. Was her name Bessie Smith? I can't remember.
Hattie McDaniel.
Hattie McDaniel. Okay, yeah, but she was the first. She was the first woman that was Black that won an Oscar. The next one was Sidney Poitier in the Heat of the Night. And then we had to go all the way. Now I'm not counting music because then you could even go. What's a man that he?
No, we're talking about like Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor, right? Like, yeah.
My man that did Shaft. Who is the man who would govern? Yeah,
I'll say Isaac Hayes.
He won. Yeah, Isaac Hayes. Yeah, he won an Oscar. He won an Oscar for the score for Shaft. Yeah. So, but I'm only counting actors and actresses because you could. Prince and that you could include Lionel Richie. But okay, so Hattie McDaniel, Sidney Poitier, then you had Louis Gossett Jr. for An Officer and a Gentleman. Okay, you skip forward a few years, and both Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg both got nominated. They both got nominated for Steven Spielberg, The Color Purple. Also, that movie was not scored by John Williams. If I'm not mistaken, it was scored by Quincy Jones.
Okay, I think you are. Yes, you are correct.
Even though he wanted to use John Williams, he thought it would be a little shady to not have a Black person score that.
Well, who did he use for Amistad then?
I'm pretty sure he used another. I thought he used. Now you got me wondering because. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Now I got to look it up. Amistad, who scored that? Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'm pulling it up, and I see. Oh, he used Debbie Allen was one of the producers on that. I saw that.
Really, Debbie Allen was a producer.
Yeah, that's shocking to me because obviously Debbie Allen's sister is Felicia Rashad.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, Felicia, I don't know everything, okay? Like everything in the world. Like, no, I had no clue. I didn't know that. Yeah, well, I guess I never really delved deep. Like Felicia I just enjoy Debbie Allen and I find her zaniness funny. Anyway.
It was Amistad was scored by John Williams.
Oh, so what? He went back to John Williams for Amistad.
He put enough, like obviously putting Debbie Allen and stuff in there. He put enough black people.
That's fine. I put a black woman as a producer.
I made a black woman the executive producer on the movie. Shut the fuck up.
I made a former choreographer a producer on this movie. I love Debbie Allen.
Debbie Allen, you know,
I'm just talking. I love Debbie Allen. She's great.
Oh, but she worked on. I thought she worked on Fame the movie and Fame the TV show. Because she worked on Fame, but I'm pretty sure she was a choreographer on the. She worked with. She was the choreographer on Coming to America.
Oh. She's been in the biz a long time. Like she's been doing her thing a long time.
I have to look because it could have been Paula Abdul because Paula Abdul was doing stuff too. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was Debbie Allen that did it, but it could be Paula Abdul. So let me see, Coming to, which I cannot wait. I'm pretty sure they finished scoring Coming to America. They finished filming it before the pandemic happened.
She was in Ain't Misbehaving, which makes me think of Nell Carter.
So let me. Oh, it was okay. So I wanted to make sure it was Paula Abdul on Coming to America that choreographed. Because I was like, was that Debbie Allen in Coming to? Okay, so that was Paula Abdul. I want to make sure that I gave the right woman the credit because Debbie Allen had done so much. But I remember her on the Fame television show, and but I thought she worked on the movie as well. But
I'm sure she did. I'm sure
Debbie Allen was such an accomplished. I thought she was at the Harlem Dance Theater and all that kind of stuff.
She's like, and she has her nowadays. And I think she still has, like, she has her own school and everything.
She was so accomplished, and
I just. Not knowing that she was Felicia Rashad's sister, but it says here, producer director on A Different World as well.
Yeah, that's
she's got
that family. Because Felicia Rashad is one of the only black women that didn't turn on Bill Cosby when all that stuff happened to him. She's still backing him. Yeah, and what was it? The little girl that played Rudy, she still talks about him with respect. A lot of the people that actually know Bill Cosby, they don't shit on him like that. But a lot of these other people, they go, "Oh yeah, he did that." Yeah, okay. So that's because people like, but I've seen Keisha Knight Pulliam and Felicia Rashad. They still show love to Bill Cosby.
You said Rudy. I can only think of Raven Simone. I'm like, she was not Rudy.
I thought Raven did shit on Bill Cosby. That's what they was.
She may have. I don't really know. She may have.
Some people turned on him, some didn't. But Debbie Allen definitely worked on A Different World. Bill Cosby loved Felicia Rashad. You know, she was like, that's why they actually fired the original when he went over to CBS and he did Cosby. They had another woman that was supposed to play his wife, and they did the pilot. They actually shot the pilot with her. I can't remember that woman's name, but the pilot tested very poorly, and a lot of people was like, they miss Felicia, and we need to bring her back. So they fired the woman that they had hired to play Bill Cosby's new wife and brought Felicia Rashad in.
It's kind of sad in a way, but it's like they're just so ingrained as a couple in our minds, as the couple.
And Cosby was the first time that we saw Jurnee Smollett. That is Jussie Smollett's, I think she's his older sister. Jussie Smollett that was on Empire and claimed the This Is MAGA Country Now, fake the hate crime and all that.
Right.
But Jussie Smollett's older sister, Jurnee, she was on Cosby. She was the little girl on Cosby. Then she went on to True Blood, and now she is on what is that? That new show that's on HBO, the something country, or what's the guy?
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, she's on
Lovecraft.
Checked
that out yet.
Yeah. My boy Brad, that used to be my roommate for about 4 years, he watched Lovecraft Country the other night. He DM'd me. He said, "Man, that shit's amazing. You gotta watch."
He likes it.
I want to get a couple because I don't want to just watch one episode. And then I hate waiting. That's one thing. Netflix and Amazon, they done ruined me because I have to. Matter of fact, I watched Quibi. I downloaded. They've been running so many Quibi commercials on YouTube. I said, "Oh, the hell with it. Let me download it and check it out." So I checked it out. Quibi it could be something but they need to change a few things.
Okay.
The content is incredible.
What's the content? Just other things that aren't on other platforms?
Here's the thing. they take basically like say about a 2.5 hour movie, and then they cut it up into like 10 to 12 episodes.
Okay.
They cut it up into little like 9-10 minute sound bites, and they say, "Oh, well, that's the episode." So that'll be the show. It's like so they just cut it into like 10-minute frat. So
do they play them back to back?
Yeah, you can. It's just like
so it's
Netflix,
like a movie.
Roll right into the next episode. But I'm sitting there going, these should just be movies. But what they're doing, they're like, oh, yeah, let's watch it in sound bites. But their best show, to me, everything I've watched so far, is Most Dangerous Game with Liam Hemsworth and Christopher Waltz is the villain in that. Oh my God, it's so incredible. Okay. It's so incredible. Yeah, it's like I sat there and I watched the whole thing. And
is it like an action intrigue thing?
It's basically a guy he's dying of cancer and his business is bankrupt and he doesn't have any insurance. And so all of a sudden he's like, I need something. I need money. My wife's pregnant with a baby. She's like 4 or 5 months pregnant. And he's about to die and he doesn't have life insurance and this kind of stuff. And so this guy gives him a card when he's at the hospital. He's like, hey, this guy says he helps people sometimes in need. And so he contacts the guy and the guy goes, okay, I'll give you the money. Here's what we're going to do. He said, you have to agree to let us hunt you for 24 hours. He says, what do you mean hunt? With like paintball? He goes, it's a hunt.
I should have known. The Most Dangerous Game. Yeah, I was like, I know I've heard that term before. Yeah.
The novel was written in the 1920s or so, and they've made movies. There's been multiple movies. Matter of fact, there's an old Ice-T movie where he was a homeless veteran, and they picked him up. Rutger Hauer was the villain in it, and they picked Ice-T up. They kind of
Water T. He's really Water T. You know that, right?
Water.
Just kidding. It's a Rick and Morty reference. If anyone knows it.
Well,
anyway.
Didn't Ice-T do voices on Rick? I thought they.
Well, he's like, I don't know that it was his voice, but it was like his character. But it's like the upshot is he's like an alien from another planet, and he's only Ice-T because like it was a punishment. Really, he's Water T.
Yeah,
you have to see the episode.
Hard Target is definitely the same idea where it's a manhunt or whatever. So, but yeah, there was an Ice-T movie with Rutger Hauer, and they basically he's a homeless veteran, and they took him to this island. He didn't realize that they were going to hunt him for 24 hours and kill him, and so obviously I think it was called Surviving the Game. But
that sounds very familiar.
It did okay. I mean, they shot it for like $15-20 million, so they didn't lose no money on it because I heard Ice-T even say, he said, some people be laughing, they talk about my movies bomb. He said a lot of times they think that it bombed just because it only opened a certain way in the US. He said, you go over to like Italy and it's a hit. And it's
like they love me over there.
Yeah. It's like that's why like guys like Eric Estrada and David Hasselhoff are still able to make all kind of money because they got a lot of they had Baywatch in 120 countries.
Yeah, that's
even if
wild.
you thought Baywatch was stupid, it was in 120 countries.
Yeah, and it ran forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They syndicated it. You know how much David Hasselhoff made like a couple $100 million off of Baywatch. He was making. They had calendars. They had so much merch. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times people that's one thing about Twitter and stuff. People just say dumb shit on Twitter and they don't understand how business works.
Right. No, totally.
Baywatch is stupid because Baywatch had been on NBC and it got canceled. And then they picked it back up in syndication, and he was able to syndicate it to 120 countries. And then they translated it. It's still running. Baywatch is still running.
And then they had the Baywatch After Dark, which was like the murder mystery Baywatch show. Yeah, I don't know if it was After Dark. I forget what it was called.
Baywatch After Dark. I tried to watch it. It was terrible. It was awful.
Do you remember when Howard Stern came out with his Son of the Beach program? Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, Son of the Beach.
It just made me think of Baywatch. Made me think of that.
Yeah. Son of the Beach. Yeah, it was. I can't remember the guy that his name was Dickie or something. I can't remember.
It was all sex humor and dick humor and.
They had because I remember Baba Booey had like they were having like different Howard Stern people make little cameos on Son of the Beach Yeah, it only ran for like 2 seasons, 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, it wasn't very long lasting.
But Howard Stern, his little production company, because here's we talk about Howard Stern. Howard Stern actually bought the rights to Porky's. He was going to do a remake of Porky's, and I loved Porky's when I was a little. The first Porky's was great. The next day or the day.
Do all little boys, do all men who saw Porky's as like young men, young boys, do they all love Porky's?
Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds. Oh, God. Love both.
Well, I loved Revenge of the Nerds when I did.
Yeah.
I did.
But the sequels were very poor. So it was like,
and honestly, I still like Revenge of the Nerds, but I call a spade a spade. I mean, she was raped. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like I can still I'll say what it is.
That is very true, because a lot of people have pointed that scene would never get approved now.
Oh hell no.
Because,
not in that sort of context. Like this is like happy in the way it should be going. Like
when he took his mask off, that should have automatically been, oh my God, he's getting handcuffed and they're doing the
F off
DNA thing on her and all that. That would have been a wrap at that point.
No. But she was turned on by it, man. She was turned on by it.
And she was like, oh my God, I'm in love with a nerd. And she snorted. And all of a sudden, I'm in love with a nerd. And
Revenge of the Nerds.
Robert Carradine.
In the panty raid scene, of course.
There was also what was that? There was also a very similar scene in Animal House, where the girl was drunk, passed out.
I love Animal House, Antonio. He doesn't do anything, though.
He had the angel and the devil on his shoulders.
Yes.
And
he takes her back to her house, like in a shopping cart, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But that would have definitely been some statutory type situations.
I'm surprised it didn't go there. But see, his character's like a good guy. Like he's in that movie. He's kind of like, he's not a dick. Like the other sorority or fraternity would have totally taken advantage of her.
There's also what was that chick's name from the Fall Guy? Hold up, I gotta pull it up. Let me look, because
that's a funny scene in Animal House though. Like when he's like feeling her up and like she passes out and he just has tissue in his hand because she just stuffed her bra.
I got it pulled up. There is a movie called Zapped. It is made in 1982. It has it's a Scott Baio movie.
I've heard of it.
Let's see. And it has Greg Bradford in it from Back to the Future. I thought he was in Back to the Future.
Who's Greg Bradford?
I'm trying. It might not be him. Hold on, let me see. No, it's not him. It's a different guy. Okay. Because I thought he was the guy that played Biff. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at the cast. Scatman Crothers, who was Jazz.
Was in Zapped? He was in Zapped?
Zapped. Scott Baio.
But Scatman Crothers was in that movie.
Scatman Crothers.
What? Please don't tell me that was his last movie.
LaWanda Page that was in Sanford and Son.
Huh.
And let me see. Hold up. Art Chris, was Aaron Gray in Fall Guy, or was that just Buck? She was just in Buck Rogers and then Silver Spoon. She went to Silver Spoon after Buck Rogers. But that was Heather Thompson who was in Zapped. And there's a scene where Scott Baio uses his powers and it makes her, she shows her breasts in the movie. And I'm trying to remember, there was let's see, Felice Schachter, Bernadette. That is his girlfriend. Matter of fact, they have a sex scene. They have a love scene with her because she's the nerd girl, and Scott Baio has a crush on Heather Thompson's character, right? But she's a bitch. She's like the cheerleader, popular girl, right? Okay. And the nerdy chick, she has a crush on Scott Baio, and he won't notice her or whatever. And then finally, by the end, obviously, he figures out that, she's the one for him. And they have the little love scene, and they're making out, and she's not wanting to pull her breasts out, and he uses his telekinetic powers to move her.
No.
Yeah, it was such like stuff like that would be
very problematic.
Yeah, because
very problematic.
She was like laughing at it. She's like trying to cover her boobs up, and he does this. He's like, and it makes her boobs. But he did something very similar to Heather Thompson. He caused a disruption in it because he got some chemicals spilt on him, which is what happened to the Flash also. But some chemicals, there was some kind of chemical explosion or whatever, and all of a sudden he had all these powers. He had these. He had like telekinetic power, and Willie Ames was in the movie too. I thought
of course he was.
Yeah, Willie Ames, which of course 8 is Enough, and Charles in Charge. He was, he was tight with Scott. Him and Scott were real tight. So yeah, but Willie Ames was in. I love they did Zapped again. That movie was shit. Whenever the main stars won't come back, it's always terrible. So they were like, "Hey, Scott," I thought Willie Amos was in Zapped again, but I know Scott Baio was like, "No, I'm not coming back." So he did. Zapped was one of my favorite movies from. Matter of fact, before we close, I keep saying before we close out, but let me get it. Okay, favorite '80s movies: Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, Zapped, Hard Bodies. Those are
anything with boobs in it.
At least those are what I would call summer movies that would show. Those are certain kind of movies like that. They
80s comedies usually always had a pair of tits in it. Yeah, well, remember Just One of the Guys?
The Police Academy movies. I love. Matter of fact, another thing. Mahoney slipping the hooker under the table when the commissar or whatever, the chief, when he goes up to give his speech and the girl goes and unzips his pants and the whole thing. And then Mahoney has to go up and do his speech for his medal. And then when he goes up, the same chick, and he looks over at him, and Commander Lassard looks at him like, that's the guy from Punky Brewster. I remember him. He was the dad or
Henry from Punky Brewster.
Punky Brewster. He was like, every time I turn around. Matter of fact, they said they were bringing it back. They said Soleil Moonfry, who had a breast reduction, by the way.
Yeah, or she had gigantic boobs. Yeah, like she had major back problems with those things.
Yeah, she was on Ricky Lake talking about her breast augment.
I remember that totally. Yeah.
I remember, go Ricky, go Ricky,
go Ricky, go Ricky.
And Soleil Moonfry was on. She was on Ricky Lake talking about her breast.
I always loved Hairspray. So when Ricky Lake got
she was in the Hairspray
show. It was just so random. Anyway.
Yeah, she was in the Hairspray. Oh yeah, Labyrinth. I remember Labyrinth. Yes, I do.
Yes, that's one of those like movie musical score / soundtracks, but it was all original music, obviously, not a soundtrack.
Yeah, but like I said,
down with the 5 gang.
But yeah, I love, like I said, those like kind of 80s comedy movies. You're definitely you're gonna get Porky's. You're gonna get Revenge of the Nerds. Just the first ones on those. I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Nerds in Paradise, which was the second Revenge of the Nerds.
I don't think I ever saw any of the sequels of those. I never cared. It's like the first ones. I'm not really a sequel person, especially for movies like that. For the most part.
They couldn't get the guy that played Gilbert to come. He only did one scene.
You're talking about what's his name from Top Gun and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards. I couldn't think of his name.
Matter of fact, we didn't talk about
Goose. Top Gun. Danger Zone and all that. Kenny Loggins.
Highway
to the danger zone. Gonna take a ride into the danger zone.
When I think about 80s movies, okay,
I'm all right. Nobody worry about me.
The reboot is going to be on Peacock with the same. That's right, they're doing Saved by the Bell, and they've got some of the original.
Whoa! No Saved by the Bell reboot. That's bullshit. I will only allow a Punky reboot if Soleil is in it. Is she in it, Antonio?
Is
Soleil Moonfry in it?
Yeah, I thought, Soleil, and matter of fact, I thought they said the little black girl that was her friend. I thought she.
Oh, really? What about the snobby? Oh my God, there's an episode of Punky Brewster where they want to.
Oh, I gotta address Adam Manetta because he's saying Paradise was fun. I gotta boot you out of my chat, man. This is terrible.
Don't do that.
Terrible.
Not for that. We all have our own opinions, Antonio.
I'm not really gonna. Yeah, he's not being.
Okay, there's an episode of Punky Brewster where the three of them want to get their boobs bigger, and they have this cream that they like they're gonna rub on their chest to make their boobs bigger, and it has this picture of like a before and after picture of like a flat chested woman and then like a big chested woman. It's
bust. Yeah, I was like, no, but yeah.
They'd say that in that we must increase our bust. Yeah.
I know. Just I was.
Oh, sorry. I'm reminiscing. But yeah, Days of Thunder and Top Gun were kind of I almost always view them as a unit, even though they're not the same. But it's that same like style of movie with Tom Cruise.
But yeah, no, and I love people. There are people coming out to just shit on Tom Cruise, like he's I don't know. I don't know him personally or anything. I don't know. He just always seemed like it, but he could be, that's one of the things they were saying about Ellen DeGeneres with all this scandal that's coming up. They were like, oh, she's like, because they did that to Rosie O'Donnell too. They were like, oh, remember they were calling her the Queen of Nice?
Mm-hmm.
And behind the scenes, everybody was just saying how big of a bitch she was and stuff.
Do you remember her show when it was first on? I actually used to really like to watch it on certain days because she would always feature a Broadway musical. Like they'd always come and perform some sort of number, like like whatever recent show was going on at the time. It's the one thing on that show that was actually pretty good.
Oh my God. Yeah. But like I said, when she was originally, she was the Queen of Nice, and then her show actually started getting raised because Oprah was killing her, and Oprah still was the queen when she went off the air, but Rosie was making a dent, and was definitely Rosie was definitely making a dent. Then she did a couple things, like she had Tom Selleck on, and she kind of blindsided him about because he had taken over as the chairman of the NRA after Charlton Heston had stepped down.
Oh, interesting.
She had a problem. She did that, and you can watch it. It's on YouTube. She did say that her people told Tom Selleck that she wanted to talk about the NRA ad that she had, but she ended up doing this horrible gotcha interview. Don't you think that it's dangerous to have it? And he was
on the Rosie O'Donnell show.
I mean, I have to find that clip. I'll clip it. If I find it, I'll send it to you. It's on YouTube. But if you watch it, like type in Tom Selleck, Rosie O'Donnell, when she blindsided, because he was like, "Whoa, I thought we was, I come here to talk about my movie." He was doing those little cop movies that kept airing on the little private detective movies or whatever.
Yes. I can't recall a title, but I know what you're talking about.
Or whatever, but he was coming to promote.
Gotta look that up.
And coming to promote, and she apparently before he said, "Hey, we want to talk about the NRA." He said, "Okay." He didn't realize. He did not. Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. Because our Chris Tom Selleck thing came out. Yeah. And I'm talking about they were going in, and that's when the public perception of Rosie O'Donnell, because Tom Selleck, he didn't keep talking about it. He made a couple of comments because people kept like, "Yo, what happened on Rosie?" Because she was such a bitch to him. She was horrible. I'm like that. I mean, I understand.
Well, like I just said, like if I tuned into that show, like I'm watching a Broadway routine, and I'm happy to see it. I'm not tuning in to watch a gotcha NRA interview.
Yeah, and he was like, it was very uncomfortable to watch.
Never saw that.
Very uncomfortable. And I thought, and I never saw her. I stopped watching her show after that. I used to watch her show in the afternoon. I liked her. I was like, I liked Tom. And I mentioned on previous Jill streams that my mom loved Magnum PI. So that was something like, so we love Magnum PI, and also talked about the producer and co-creator of Magnum PI, also created one of my also time favorite shows, Knight Rider, and also The Fall Guy, with Lee Majors. So he did all three of those. So yeah, and Battlestar Galactica.
Real quick, Antonio, Jesse Stone. That's the Tom Selleck character.
That stuff. And she came, let me see. Boom, let me see. Art Chris said, remember when Howard Stern would have guests, how many jelly beans fit in Rosie? Yeah, but now he loves Rosie now. He's friends with Rosie. He's friends with Ellen.
Times change.
Howard is anybody, and he says, some of his older fans are upset that he's not as edgy as he used to be, but he was just like, look, I've grown up, I've matured, and I'm not doing that stuff anymore.
It's not going to be the same show, people. It's just not.
62, almost 63 years old, And so he's like, I'm not doing that stuff anymore. But
if he still did that, wouldn't you? I think those same people would think it was ridiculous. Like,
but
if they got what they wanted, they probably wouldn't like it either. Just because, again, he's old. He's
in there. Matter of fact, he had the guy that came up with the song "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head," and he wanted him to
love that song.
He wanted him to come in and sing "Raindrops Keep Falling on Rosie O'Donnell's Head," and he was like, "No, I don't want to do that." and Howard was trying to get him to sing the lyrics "Raindrops Keep Falling on" or something gumball.
That's from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
He was trying to. It was also in Spider-Man 3. No, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, the one with Doc Ock. Nothing's worrying me. So, oh my God. JillStream, the chat has been so fun. Oh God, there's like
thanks everyone for
this was fun, but like I said, acknowledge some of these other ones, like obviously Danny Elfman, Alan Silvestri, like I said,
we said at the top, we're gonna miss a ton of
Alan Silvestri, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. He also scored all the Avengers movies. Hans Zimmer, incredible Hans Zimmer.
Perfect. I'm not a big fan of any of the Marvel movie scores. They don't stand out in my mind. I don't like them.
True Romance, love True Romance.
True Romance,
which is
I haven't watched that in a while.
The script was written by Quentin Tarantino,
right? Who
also went in and did a script doctoring on Crimson Tide and got into it with Denzel Washington because Denzel Washington said that he was a white guy that liked to put N-word in his script like 40-something times,
which isn't wrong. Well, that's a factual statement.
He's talked about he likes using the word because he knows black people use that word in real life and any of that kind of stuff. But Denzel Washington actually made them take some of that stuff out because they were calling him. Remember, he was like one of the only. It was him and what was the other guy? Rockney S. O'Bannon, I think the other black. There were only like 2 black guys on that boat, and Ricky Schroeder was on that boat. You look on Crimson Tide, look at all the hitters that they had in that movie. They had James Gandolfini from The Sopranos was in there. Viggo
who was also in True Romance.
It was also in True Romance, yes. There's so obviously Gene Hackman, who I love and was in Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood as the director and the primary star, and one of my favorite Gene Hackman movies, which he won the Oscar for, was The French Connection, and that score from The French Connection is incredible. And I watched both The French Connection and French Connection 2. French Connection 2 actually took place in France. They actually
Viggo Mortensen was in it.
Yeah,
Eric Bourne. Did you say Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah, I said Viggo.
Did I miss out? I was like zoning out apparently.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not roboting tonight. So I was like, okay.
No, but I've been talking over you a little bit every once in a while.
You're good. No, you're good. This, like I said, I'm very happy with this show. But let me do the rundown and we'll get out of here. So
yeah, we're at 2.5 right now. So.
Yeah, we're getting out, guys. We're leaving, but we love you guys. You guys have been amazing. So okay, again, we will be back Wednesday. JillStream every Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can also catch the replay on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're also on Google Play and Stitcher and TuneIn Radio. Of course, catch us on Planet EJOBN on Facebook. We're streaming live to that group. We love that group. And of course, if you are watching on any of the other platforms, you can also hang out right here, youtube.com/Akari Press. Let me give it to Jill. Anything else you would like to say before we close out? Anything?
I would. Wire Wednesday episode. We're on season 1, episode 5.
The pager that will be this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come hang out with us. If you're a Wire fan, please come hang out with us. We've been getting nice attendance on those. So
and we always go off on little tangents depending on what happens in the episode. So maybe if you don't like The Wire, still check it out. You never know.
So there you go.
Other than that, bye. Later, losers.
Well, I got to do my thing. So obviously catch me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, right here on YouTube, all at Akari Press, AkariPress.com. Takes you to Brand Way of the Gun. We're getting closer to 29K. So thank you for supporting that book. And of course, catch me on Amazon and Teespring, get my merch and all that good stuff. So I'm seeing that. And other than that, let me do that. Revving up your engine. Listen to the howling roar. Metal under tension, begging you to touch and go.
Oh my gosh. Is it
Highway to the danger zone.
Gonna take a ride into I did a tap dance to that song.
I was gonna do Meet Me Halfway, but that was from Over the Top. Meet Me Halfway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kenny Loggins, man. I gotta see, can I get Kenny Loggins on the show? I would love to talk to him just about all the 80s music that he did, from like what was the golfing Caddyshack?
I'm all right. Nobody worries about me.
Yeah, all that, yeah. Kenny Loggins was a man in the 80s. He was killing it. But thank you guys. We are out. JillStream is over. See you guys on Wednesday.
Hi guys.